Chapter 1179. At this time, no one could save Lu Chen. But, boss, let Xiao Min help you block another attack. A voice sounded in Lu Chen's mind. I believe you will definitely defeat the 9th level tribulation because you are my boss. The moment the world annihilation curse shot over, a transparent spirit body suddenly flashed out of Lu Chen's body. Tell Sister Lu, little beast, little furball, little originator, and the medicine boy not to be sad. Protect Master, this is Xiao Min's mission. The spirit body said softly. Farewell, Xiao Min's favorite boss. In the face of such a terrifying attack, that little figure blocked in front of Lu Chen and didn't budge an inch. Spirit body self-destruct. Xiao Min's slightly immature voice sounded, but she used all her strength to block in front of Lu Chen. Her body shone brightly and erupted with terrifying spiritual power. No spiritual body was allowed to exist in the heavenly tribulation. The moment she appeared, she was destined to be destroyed in body and soul. Not to mention there was still the world annihilation curse, and the spirit body self-destruct. Xiao Min. Lu Chen's body trembled, but he couldn't move. No. With a boom, Xiao Min's spirit body turned into light spots and slowly flew away. Outside the first heaven's spirit world, a girl waited alone. Her parents were dead, and she had become a lonely ghost. She was waiting for someone to avenge her. A young man completed the spirit puppet mission and subdued the first purple ghost pet in the entire server. Her name was Xiao Min. Lu Chen couldn't remember how many times she blocked a fatal attack for her master. For more than 10 years, Xiao Min had been following Lu Chen from the first heaven to the 6th heaven. Whether it was leveling up, fighting monsters, or camping, she never left Lu Chen for a moment. She liked Louie, who came later and called her sister. She liked to play with little furball, little origin, and little beastie. She liked to bicker with the medicine boy. She had seen Lu Chen slowly become a godfiend from a monster. She had also experienced life and death battles and dire straits with Lu Chen. She was Lu Chen's first partner. She watched as Lu Chen grew up step by step. When Lu Chen reached the 5th layer of heaven, Little Green's role in fighting with his original body had become negligible. However, Xiao Min did not forget her duty. Protect the master. I have accompanied you for 10 years. It is my fortune to have my soul destroyed. I have no regrets in this life. At this moment, the entire audience was shocked by this scene. In the chaotic heavenly refining ground, other than the sound of rolling thunder, there was no other sound. Yes, Solipsistic's ghost pet? Why did that ghost pet come out by itself? She self-destructed in order to protect Solipsistic. When she appeared in the heavenly tribulation, her soul was destined to be destroyed. Self-destruction was also her last resort to protect her master with her life. Old Ghost Tianin's attack was actually diverted by the self-destruction of a ghost pet. He was also stunned for a moment. Solipsistic, I didn't expect you to have such a move. That ghost pet actually chose to self-destruct in order to protect its master? How interesting. It's a pity that even if she self-destructs, she won't be able to change anything. She's just a ghost pet without any fighting strength, and the spirit energy fluctuations produced by the self-destruction of her spirit body are negligible. If I hadn't been careless, you would have already died from that attack. If Lu Chen was in the state of soul and body as one, the power of Xiao Min's spirit body self-destruction might be a little stronger. However, Lu Chen was currently in his original state, and even if Xiao Min exhausted the self-destruction of the original god, he could only slightly divert old Ghost Tianin's attack. This is the fate of the weak. Even if you die, you won't be able to change anything. Old Ghost Tianin said contemptuously. The weak will always be the weak. There's no meaning in their existence. Lu Chen's head was constantly pressed down by the terrifying power of the heavenly tribulation, and he was unable to lift it up. No one could clearly see Lu Chen's expression. However, old ghost Tianyin suddenly realized that the person kneeling in front of him with his head lowered all this while had thick green smoke pouring out from both sides of his temples. Many people knew that when Lu Chen was angry, his eyes would emit green fog. However, the green fog had never dissipated as violently as this time. Suddenly, the man who was kneeling on the ground propped himself up with one hand and stood up with one leg. The heavenly tribulation seemed to sense this intense resistance, and became even more intense. In the clouds, lightning flashed and thunder roared everywhere. All of them converged into this thick lightning bolt, causing the level 9 heavenly tribulation to become even thicker. However, all of this was unable to stop the man from standing up again. His entire body was trembling, but he was unusually determined. This is the level 9 heavenly tribulation. A low and hoarse voice sounded as if it came from hell. Old dog Tianyin, is this all you've got? Lu Chen's other leg also stood up. Old ghost Tianyin looked at the person in front of him in horror. This fellow could actually stand up in the level 9 heavenly tribulation? As the user of the heavenly tribulation, old ghost Tianyin could not help but take half a step back. No, impossible. This is the level 9 heavenly tribulation. It's impossible for you to defeat the level 9 heavenly tribulation. Amidst the lightning, Lu Chen stood up straight and slowly raised his head. At this moment, people finally saw Lu Chen's appearance. 2 lines of tears hung on his cheeks. His eyes were blood-red, and green fog was rolling around his eyes. His black robe with golden patterns fluttered in the lightning, and that striking head of white hair moved without any wind. Rather than saying that the current Lu Chen was resisting the heavenly tribulation, it was better to say that he was a god born in the lightning. Old ghost Tianyin, even if the heavenly king comes today, he won't be able to save you. Every word was spoken clearly. No matter who heard it, they could not help but tremble in fear. No way. Solipsistic actually withstood the level 9 heavenly tribulation. What kind of heaven-defying monster is this? The strength of his physical body definitely far exceeds the limit of the human race. No, not only the limit of the human race, but also the limit of all races. Forget about the strength of his physical body. What I find strange is that his killing intent is so strong now. How did he manage to resist the tempering of his mind? Willpower, Wu Chang suddenly said. It's an incomparably firm willpower. We hope to resist the heavenly tribulation through a state of mind that has no desires, and no worries. However, he has taken a completely different path. His worries are the motivation for him to become stronger. The self-destruction of that ghost pet completely stimulated his potential and also made his willpower even firmer, thus allowing him to resist the level 9 heavenly tribulation. On the battlefield, old ghost Tianyin looked at the solipsistic in front of him, who was like a thunder god descending to the world, in shock. In this situation, it was clearly the other party who was enduring the enormous pressure of the heavenly tribulation, but now it made him feel flustered. However, old ghost Tianyin was, after all, experienced on the battlefield. He quickly calmed down and pretended to be relaxed as he said, "Solipsistic, I know you're just barely doing it. Even if you can withstand the level 9 heavenly tribulation, I don't believe that you still have the ability to fight me. I can still easily kill you now. I want to see how many more ghost pets or battle pets you have that can die for you." Lu Chen was expressionless. He did not hear old ghost Tianyin's words at all. He only muttered to himself, "Xiao Min, boss wants old ghost Tianyin to die with you." After saying that, he grabbed the limitless sword and took a deep breath. In the heavenly tribulation region, there was a sudden change in the weather. Other than the lightning that had been striking Lu Chen's body, half of the world's temperature suddenly rose, and there was a faint red flame. The other half of the world's temperature suddenly dropped, and there was frost condensing in the air. Chapter 1180. The ones who killed Xiaomin were Tianyin Old Devil and Tianyin Lui's. Lu Chen raised his head and looked at the rolling lightning in the sky. Heavenly tribulation, right? Since you killed my Xiaomin, you will die. Lu Chen shouted angrily, Celestial Demon's might. Celestial Demon Lotus Heart, Inner Demon. Celestial Demon Body. The group of people entered a weakened state. However, they didn't have the time to care about their own attribute, because the man on the field was crazy. What is he doing? Inner demon in the heavenly tribulation? Isn't he courting death? He said the heavenly tribulation will die? I don't understand. Is this guy crazy? Is he going to attack the heavenly tribulation? Attacking the heavenly tribulation was unheard of. Not to mention heard. They didn't even dare to think about it. Die. Lu Chen's eyes were about to split open. The celestial demon limitless sword in his hand seemed to feel its owner's anger and shone brightly. Celestial technique. Ice flame explosion sword. This sword actually slashed directly towards the horizon. Not only that, Lu Chen was in a celestial state and rushed toward the clouds with the celestial demon limitless sword. Boom! The violent spiritual energy rolled, causing the entire Huashan continent to shake violently as if a planet was collapsing. Even the air was rumbling from this sword. My God, he really attacked the heavenly tribulation. I didn't even dare to dream about it. This is a celestial technique? Such a powerful celestial technique. The power of ice and fire is too terrifying. The scattered lightning in the surroundings kept superimposing on the thickest one. Thousands of lightning surged, preventing Lu Chen from continuing upward. However, Lu Chen was furious and couldn't be stopped. Give me back Xiaomin! Lu Chen roared, withstanding the heavenly tribulation and lightning. His entire body disappeared into the clouds, and it was hard to see his figure. Just as everyone didn't know how the battle was going, suddenly, there was a loud sound in the sky. Immediately after that, the clouds that covered the sky were sealed in ice. Then, it exploded from the inside of the ice. Boom, 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 boom. Countless explosions rang out in the sky. It was as if the sky had been bombed. The entire horizon was drowned in flames, spreading out for thousands of miles. At this moment, the heavenly sound Thunder Pond jade plate, which was hanging beside the Tianyin Old Devil, suddenly cracked from the middle with a crack. Whether it was the Tianyin Old Ghost or the people who had noticed the jade plate, they were all pale with fright. The heavenly sound Thunder Lake, which was known as the strongest magical treasure in the sixth heaven, cracked? This is impossible. Tianyin Old Devil's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. The reason why he was able to reach where he was today and stand at the peak of the sixth heaven was because of this most powerful magic treasure. But at this moment, the solipsistic had actually broken this magic treasure? Did that mean that he was really Rumble? The dark clouds in the sky were directly split apart by Lu Chen's sword. In the sky, a white-haired man stood in the air, like a god descending to the world. Seeing this scene, everyone present could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. My God, this guy broke the heavenly tribulation. He still has moves that are even more powerful than the one sword breaks the heavens? This polar ice flame explosion sword, I think it is the real one sword breaks the heavens! Tian Xian could not help but shake his head. When he said that he would pass the tribulation in 3 years, I thought it was a fool's dream. Now it seems that we are the frogs at the bottom of the well. Although the heavenly refinement is not the real heavenly tribulation, the strength of his heavenly refinement is not inferior to the heavenly tribulation. And he can withstand the level 9 heavenly refinement of the one sword breaks the heavens, so even if he encounters the real level 9 heavenly tribulation, he can easily pass the tribulation. Wu Chang said, People say that the Tianyin Old Devil is strong, but the Tianyin Old Devil's strength mostly relies on the heavenly sound Thunder Pond. and this guy is a monster from the beginning to the end. His combat power is simply too terrifying. Qingli could not help but sigh. Solipsistic, one sword breaks the heavens. This guy is really the #1 mad god in Jotian history, the #1 monster, the #1 god of war. When the level 9 heavenly tribulation disappeared, the current Lu Qin could only be described as horrifying. In an instant, he was already in front of the Tianyin old devil. Die for me. Attacking the void polar ice flame explosion. Upon hearing the name of this skill, the Tianyin old devil was almost scared out of his wits. Wasn't this the move he used to break the heavenly sound thunder pond? How could he block it? The Tianyin old devil naturally would not surrender without a fight. He hurriedly used lingering sound, heavenly sound spirit shield, demonic sound dance, and many other defensive skills. However, this time, all of these skills were useless in front of the polar ice blazing flames. The spirit shield and lingering sound instantly froze. Then, they directly exploded from the inside. And the sword aura directly split the upper half of the Tianyin old devil's body, together with the small half of the Tianyin Xian zither, into two. Not to mention the Tianyin old devil, the entire Huashan continent's ground was directly cut off by Lu Qin. Fortunately, the spectators in the distance had sufficient time to react. They frantically fled, and only then did they manage to avoid this attack. After this attack, a huge crack that ran for hundreds of miles had already appeared in the Huashan continent. It was like an abyss so deep that one could not see the bottom. Everyone looked at the Tianyin old devil's mutilated body in shock. Their brains short-circuited for a moment, and they were speechless. The Tianyin old devil looked at his own body in horror, and then looked at Lu Qin in front of him. He did not recover for a long time. Solipsistic Lu Qin did not have a trace of joy on his face. He only raised his head and looked at the falling ice crystals around him. Reaching out his hand, Lu Qin caught an ice crystal. It was as if it was a part of Xiaomin's body. However, the ice crystal stayed in his hand for a moment before it finally melted. Little furball, I'll leave this fellow to you. Lu Qin was no longer in the mood to punish the Tianyin old devil. Anyway, the little furball's anger was not any less than his. He just wanted to be alone and have some peace and quiet. A little white mouse directly scurried onto the Tianyin old devil's shoulder. The little furball squeaked nonstop. Xiaomin was dead, and the little furball was unable to contain its anger. Its eyes revealed a cruel expression that had never been seen before. It wanted the Tianyin old devil to suffer a fate worse than death. It directly started to gnaw on the Tianyin old devil's face. It's the heaven-devouring god-slaying rat. Get out of my way! Get out of my way! The Tianyin old devil screamed. However, his body had already been severed. How could he resist the little furball? Lu Qin glanced at Lu Shui and Purple Knight Tianzi in the distance. When Lu Chen's gaze swept past them, the two of them instinctively took a few steps back. However, Lu Chen did not do anything. He only watched as the little furball tortured the Tianyin old devil. The Tianyin old devil was most afraid of death. However, who would have thought that after hiding in the Tianyin Thunder Pond for more than 600 years, he would still be defeated today? Furthermore, the little furball used extremely cruel methods to torture him to the point where he could neither live nor die. After 5 hours of cruel torture, the Tianyin old devil had already become half a skeleton and half rotten flesh. His face was badly mutilated. He was already on the verge of death. Solipsistic, I beg you, kill me, the Tianyin old devil pleaded. Lu Qin was unmoved. However, this time, without waiting for Lu Qin to make a move, the Tianyin old devil could not hold on any longer. His neck tilted and he was about to breathe his last. Lu Qin snorted coldly. A wisp of netherworld fire appeared in his hand and directly entered the Tianyin old devil's body. Although he no longer had a complete body, Lu Chen used the netherworld fire to finally end the Tianyin old devil. In this way, he could not even go to the netherworld. His soul was truly scattered. Lu Chen recalled the little fur ball and glanced at the demonic academy. His gaze landed on Yi Fan. Yi Fan, I will give you 7 days. 7 days later, annihilate the Tianyin old devil and slaughter Zi Tian. With that, Lu Chen disappeared from everyone's sight in a flash. Chapter 1181. On a sparsely populated planet, there were wild beasts running amok in the dense jungles, and few people were there. Lu Chen sat alone by the stream, staring at the lake in a daze. Furry, Originator, and Rhubarb sat behind Lu Chen. It was rare that the three of them didn't go out to have fun, but stayed by Lu Chen's side. There were still traces of tears on Boss's face. Furry jumped onto Lu Chen's shoulder and rubbed against his master. Lu Chen came back to his senses, stroked Furry, and choked with sobs. I didn't protect Xiao Min well. Xiao Min's sacrifice not only helped Lu Chen block the killing move of Tianyin Old Devil, but also helped Lu Chen break through the limit of his will. Without Xiao Min, Lu Chen wouldn't have been able to resist the level 9 heavenly tribulation and kill Tianyin Old Devil at the same time. I'm fine. I'll settle this in 7 days. Lu Chen said softly and continued to stare at the lake in a daze. Although the Dean had killed Tianyin Old Devil, the atmosphere in the Divinity and Demons Academy was particularly tense. The Dean had given Yi Fan a deadline. 7 days later was the last day to settle this grudge. Yi Fan, are you confident now? Xiao Zhan asked. Yi Fan nodded heavily. 7 days later, I will definitely kill Zi Yi and avenge my clansmen. I will also avenge little sister Min. Okay, leave the other experts of the Violet Palace to us. Purple Knight Emperor is yours. Chu Tian said. Yi Fan looked at them gratefully. No matter how mischievous they usually were, they never flinched at the critical moment. The brothers' business was their business. On the other side, the 8 heavenly kings of the Royal Heaven Immortal Palace had returned. Tai Hao looked at the dazed Tian Xen and sighed. Xen, are you afraid that Lu Chen will blame you? Tian Xen nodded. Big brother Lu Chen is a loyal person. Xiao Min's sacrifice must have been a huge blow to him. If I hadn't asked him for help, this wouldn't have happened. Tai Hao said, we don't know where he is now. Let's thank him the next time he appears. Ku Rua said, Nameless has already said that the Heavenly Music Pavilion and the Purple Heavenly Palace will be wiped out in 7 days. Right now, the people from the 2 great powers were fleeing in panic. From sovereign personages to martial emperors, they all fought to be the first to flee. Kunwu frowned. Nameless words caused the collapse of the Heavenly Music Pavilion and the Purple Heaven Palace. It's like a heavenly decree. What else could it be? Even the Heavenly Music Pavilion was killed by him. Nameless already has the strength of a true immortal even if he hasn't gone through the tribulation. Tai Hao nodded. Regardless of the others, the 2 leaders of the Heavenly Music Pavilion and the Purple Heavenly Palace definitely can't escape. This matter is a foregone conclusion. Right now, the entire 6th heaven is paying attention to that guy. When will he go to the Tower of Babel? Speaking of tribulation, Tai Hao said what he was most concerned about. What kind of tribulation will he encounter in the Tower of Babel? Can someone like him, who is unwilling to give up his original intention, succeed in the tribulation? Solipsistic wasn't the Heavenly Music Pavilion. The Heavenly Music Pavilion refused to leave the 6th heaven, but from the looks of it, Solipsistic would be able to go through the tribulation soon. This matter was the most important matter in the 6th heavens right now. Who knew how many pairs of eyes were watching? 7 days later, Lu Chen returned to the Holy Academy of Gods and Demons and led the disciples to the Purple Mountain continent, which was the lair of the Purple Heavenly Palace. Along the way, Yi Fan didn't say a word. Anyone could see that he had been waiting for this day for a long time. However, when they arrived at the Purple Heavenly Palace, they found that the huge palace of the Purple Heavenly Palace was empty. Originally, everyone thought that the people of the Purple Heavenly Palace had run away. It wasn't until they saw a person sitting on the throne in the Purple Heavenly Palace that they breathed a sigh of relief. It didn't matter even if the entire Purple Heavenly Palace had run away, as long as this person was still here. Purple Knight Emperor looked haggard, but today he wore the standard accessories of the Purple Heavenly Palace, a purple robe with golden patterns, and sat on the throne. Seeing Lu Chun, Yi Fan, and the others break into the Purple Heavenly Palace, Purple Knight Emperor's face didn't change. Solipsistic had never failed to fulfill his promise, so he wasn't surprised that the people of the Holy Academy of Gods and Demons would come. On the contrary, it seemed that he had made preparations early on. However, there was only Purple Knight Tianzi in the huge Purple Sky Divine Hall. He sat alone on the throne. It was said that there were many experts and hundreds of thousands of disciples in the Purple Heavenly Palace. Today, only Purple Knight Emperor was left. Lu Chun snorted coldly. Purple Knight Emperor, I didn't expect you to have such a day. Your Purple Heavenly Palace is finished. The corners of Purple Knight Emperor's eyes twitched. The Purple Heavenly Palace that he had painstakingly managed, from its peak to its decline, was all because of a single sentence from Solipsistic. Within 7 days, the Purple Heavenly Palace that had been passed down for thousands of years was only left with a shell in him, a commander without an army. Since the other experts had left, then things were even simpler. Lu Qin looked at Yi Fan. Yi Fan, I'll leave him to you. Yi Fan stared at Purple Knight Emperor and walked over. Purple Knight Emperor, in order to seize Yi Tiandi's cultivation method, you killed more than 80 of my clansmen. We can finally settle this debt. Didn't you want Yi Tiandi's cultivation method? Well, I'll let you have a good look today. Come down and die. Not only was Purple Knight Emperor not angry, but he laughed loudly. It's really fate. Who would have thought that after I slaughtered the entire Yi family and missed out on Yi Fan, Yi Tiandi's cultivation method was in your hands, Yi Fan. And you, in just 5 years, have already reached the point where you can fight with me. If I didn't care about the innocuous academy, Zhongxin Go, and directly killed you, even if I suffered some losses, it would be much better than today. So, I failed because I wasn't ruthless enough. Yi Fan said angrily, Is this your awareness before death? When you slaughtered the Yi family, you didn't say that you would spare my life. If it weren't for my clansmen swearing to protect me, I would have died in the Yi family mansion. You failed not because you weren't ruthless enough, but because you died because you were unscrupulous. Yi Tianzi smiled, stood up, and walked down the stairs step by step. In this world where flesh is strong, what's wrong with being unscrupulous? Yi Fan, you want to avenge your family? Well, if you want revenge, then come at me. Even if everyone in the Purple Heavenly Palace is gone, at least I, Purple Knight Emperor, am still here. Even if I had a choice again, I would still destroy your Yi family, but I definitely won't let a little bastard like you escape. Yi Fan's eyes widened. Shut up, eat my sword. Celestial Emperor Sword Art, Ye's solitary sword. Yi Fan turned into a yellow afterimage and rushed toward his opponent. Chapter 1182. Remnant of the Yi family, as long as you don't interfere, I'll kill you like killing a chicken. Suddenly Lu Chun spoke up. Violet Knight, I've already promised Yi Fan that I won't interfere in this matter. So, if you have the ability, go ahead and use it. Although Yi Fan had been living in poverty for the past few years, his strength had always improved the fastest among his fellow disciples. In addition to talent, resources, and opportunities, the most important thing was that Yi Fan still had a great enmity that he had yet to avenge. His time was more pressing than the others. Apart from working, the only thing he had to do was become stronger. Back then, Yi Fan had been a 2-star Theo the Great. In the blink of an eye, 4 years had passed. Now, Yi Fan had become the second person in the Primordial Demon Academy besides Lu Chen to step into the human monarch realm. Although Purple Knight was a 5-star human monarch, 4 stars higher than Yi Fan's talent could completely make up for the 4-star gap. Lu Chen absolutely believed in Yi Fan on this point. Apart from that guy's bad gambling and financial luck, and his inability to pursue girls, in terms of strength, he was undoubtedly the strongest disciple in the Primordial Demon Academy. Hearing Lu Chen's words, Purple Knight laughed wildly. "All right, since Nameless has said so, although I know that I'm going to die, I'll at least drag one of you down with me today. Yi Fan, the grudge between you and me should be settled today. Go to hell." For a moment, Purple Knight and Yi Fan fought fiercely. "Nameless, I didn't expect Purple Knight to be so strong," a sea of clouds said. On the side, Etion interjected. "If Purple Knight didn't have some strength, he wouldn't have been able to become the palace master of the Purple Sky Palace. Now, the Purple Sky Palace has declined. Aside from settling the grudge with Yi Fan, Emperor Zai is also fighting for the last dignity of the Purple Sky Palace." Ma Bei, who came with the Divine Devil Academy, said, "The Purple Knight Emperor usually does whatever he wants, but no matter what, his feelings for the Purple Heavenly Palace are indeed deeper than anyone else. Look, everyone has left the Purple Heavenly Palace, but he did not escape." Xiao Zhan and the others stared at the battle nervously. Junior brother Yi Fan and Celestial Emperor Ye's cultivation technique? He had never used it before. This Celestial Emperor Ye's technique is so powerful. I used to think that it was a mental cultivation method. I didn't think that it would include the skills of all the major professions. Every move is very strong. It seems that this guy has never used his full strength when he fought with us. Yi Fan and the Purple Knight Emperor fought fiercely for close to 30 minutes. The Purple Knight Emperor was a 5-star sovereign personage, yet he was actually suppressed by Yi Fan to the point that he could not breathe. He forced Yi Fan back with one move and stared fixedly at Yi Fan. This kid, who was only at the Emperor realm back then, had already become a Mortal King realm powerhouse in just a few years. His combat strength was even above his own. He had long known that Yi Fan was a rare genius, so he had been unwilling to let Yi Fan go. Now it seemed that he had still underestimated Yi Fan's potential. He had not killed Yi Fan back then, but in the blink of an eye, this guy already had such terrifying strength. Most importantly, he had an even more terrifying backer behind him, the Divine Devil Academy. An academy that, from top to bottom, was filled with demons and monsters. At this moment, the Purple Knight Emperor finally understood that he could no longer defeat the surviving member of the Yi family who had luckily escaped back then. "Purple Knight bastard, today, I will avenge my parents, siblings, and clansmen." Yi Fan changed from his usual quiet, gentle, and calm appearance. His eyes were filled with hatred. "Die for me!" Celestial Emperor Yi Art, Emperor's Heart Monarch Sword. Yi Fan's figure suddenly increased in size. His body turned into a stream of light. His sword aura crisscrossed, and in his astral state, he flashed past and pierced straight for the Purple Knight Emperor's heart. The ground of the Purple Sky Hall was directly affected by the aftershock. Huge cracks appeared on the ground. At the same time, the sword attack arrived. Before the Purple Knight Emperor could react, a golden light had already pierced through his chest. Yi Fan's voice came from behind him. "This is the Celestial Emperor Yi Art that you tried so hard to obtain." The Purple Knight Emperor's eyes widened. In the face of this attack, he did not even have the chance to react. A moment later, a large hole appeared in the Purple Knight Emperor's chest. His flesh was badly mangled. He knelt on the ground with a dull expression. Yi Fan walked in front of the Purple Knight Emperor. His eyes were wide open as he cut off the Purple Knight Emperor's head. At the same time, he wrapped the head with spiritual energy to nourish it, preventing the Purple Knight Emperor from dying. I will seal your head in my Yi family tomb, and let you repent in front of my Yi family forever. Yi Fan choked with sobs. The Yi family's revenge had finally been avenged. The Purple Sky Palace had been destroyed. Lu Chun continued to lead the disciples of the Divinity Demon Academy to the Heavenly Music Parlor. The Heavenly Music Parlor's situation was even worse. The Heavenly Music Parlor was empty inside and out. It was a complete mess. Since Lu Chun said that he would destroy the Heavenly Music Parlor, who would dare to stay here? The current Heavenly Music Parlor master, Lu Shui, and the 18 hall masters had all run away. Only the buildings of the Heavenly Music Parlor were left empty. Nameless, what do we do now? Do we kill them all? A sea of clouds asked. Lu Chun shook his head. The only one in the Heavenly Music Parlor who has a grudge with me is the Heavenly Music Parlor. Once the Heavenly Music Parlor is dead, the monkeys will scatter when the tree falls. It can be seen that the Heavenly Music Parlor is not united. As for the others, since they have given up on becoming part of the Heavenly Music Parlor, I will spare their lives. Speaking of which, Lu Chun still remembered Qing, the hall master of the Heavenly Music Parlor's Qing Law Hall. She was actually a good person. Perhaps the Heavenly Music Parlor had many people like her. Since they had given up on becoming part of the Heavenly Music Parlor, they would no longer be enemies with Lu Chun. He would just let them be. Old C, Old E. Lu Chun looked at the empty Heavenly Music Parlor. The two of them responded. Nameless, what's the matter? Lu Chun said, the Divinity Demon Academy is full now. The Intentionless Mountain can only accommodate 15,000 people. Any more and it will be crowded. The Heavenly Music Parlor and the Purple Sky Palace are bigger than the Zhongxiangu. They can be used as branches of the Divinity Demon Academy. The two continents where the Heavenly Music Parlor and the Purple Sky Palace were located did not have a headquarters. The major academies followed these two forces. In fact, they were equivalent to the headquarters of the Heavenly Music Continent and the Purple Mountain Continent. And Lu Chun directly used these two places as branches of the Divinity Demon Academy. Ma Bei could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. How would the development of the Divinity Demon Academy be in the future? When a sea of clouds and Etion heard this, they immediately became spirited. This was a big project. This way, they would have a new challenge. At this moment, Lu Chun took out a token and handed it to Yi Fan, who was still in a daze. He also raised his head and looked at Lu Chun in surprise. Dean, this is, Lu Chun smiled slightly, Divinity Demon Academy's Dean's token. On the spot, everyone looked at Lu Chun in shock. Lu Chun smiled faintly. I've been in the 6th heaven for a long time. Yunhai and Etienne are getting on in years, and there are many competitions for rankings in the academy that still require the dean's intervention. Just let them help you manage the academy. You'll be in charge of fighting. Dean. Yi Fan's eyes flickered with tears. Yi Fan, you are already very strong. I also believe that you will become stronger. Moreover, you will also bring the Divinity Demon Academy to a higher level. From now on, the Dean's token is yours. With that, Lu Chun picked up Yi Fan's token and placed it in his hand. Chapter 1183. Everyone knew that the Dean was about to leave the 6th heaven, but no one expected that the Dean would hand over the Dean's token to Yi Fan. Dean, I might not be ready yet, Yi Fan said. Lu Chun smiled faintly. I wasn't ready at that time. Dean, are you leaving? Yi Fan asked. Lu Chun nodded. There are still some trivial matters to deal with. When Little Green comes back, I should be going to Tong Tian Tower. Although Lu Chen's decision was a bit sudden, thinking about this guy's growth speed, he had the strength to resist a level 9 heavenly tribulation in 4 years at the 6th heaven. With his speed, it was naturally impossible for him to be like the other deans, who had been there for decades. Yun Hai let out a long sigh. Nameless, your growth rate is too fast. I was still thinking of working with you for a few more years. I didn't expect that in just a few years you're already leaving. Back then, the scene of a sea of clouds handing over the dean's token to Lu Chen seemed to be right in front of him. In a flash, Lu Chen was already at the peak of the human king realm, and passed the inheritance of the holy courtyard of gods and demons to Yi Fan. However, all good things must come to an end. Lu Chen had to leave in the end. Yi Tian also sighed, and could only accept this reality. He said to Yi Fan, other than financial management, you are very outstanding in all aspects. Everyone saw that you just took your revenge. With your current strength, you are qualified to be the dean of any holy courtyard. But, don't worry, we will help you with the matters of the academy, Yi Tian said. A sea of clouds had already thought it through. Nameless is right. Yi Fan, we all believe that you will bring the holy courtyard of gods and demons to a higher level. However, Nameless, there are some procedures that you still have to go through. After all, you are the founder of the Divine Devil Academy, and after you abdicate, you will definitely have to enter the Divine Devil Temple. Furthermore, the inheritance of our Divine Devil Academy will also have to be officially announced. Lu Chen nodded. Although he didn't like these complicated formalities, this was the demonic god academy that he had founded. Moreover, the inheritance ceremony was also to help Yi Fan establish his prestige and reputation, so he couldn't skip it. The dean's seal could be given to Yi Fan first, but it would have to be given later during the ceremony. Xiao Zhan, Chu Tian, Wu Xian, and Skyfall all came to Yi Fan's side and slapped Yi Fan's shoulder, almost sending Yi Fan flying. Yi Fan, you've actually become a dean. However, the dean also has to call me senior apprentice brother, Chu Tian said with a laugh. Sigh, how can the dean be at ease with you? I am convinced of your strength, but isn't he afraid that the Divine Devil Academy will go bankrupt because of the lack of capital? Xiao Zhan frowned. Yi Fan, don't think that just because you're the dean, you don't have to pay back the 8 million you owe me, the mysterious armor king reminded. However, Yi Fan did not have the usual appearance of playing around with his fellow disciples. It seemed that he had a lot on his mind. Seeing this, the few of them realized that it was not appropriate to joke at this time. Chu Tian stopped smiling. Yi Fan, don't worry, we will do our best to assist you. Yi Fan looked at Chu Tian. Actually, Grey Crow and the others all had official positions now, and Chu Tian was the true eldest senior brother of the new disciples. Chu Tian's ability and strength were all very strong, and he was also a very good choice for the dean. Senior brother Chu Tian, you should have been the dean. Chu Tian could not help but laugh. Idiot, what nonsense are you talking about? With that, Chu Tian looked at Yi Fan seriously. Yi Fan, us brothers, why are you still talking about this? To us, the position of the dean is not attractive at all. We only hope to become stronger, and becoming the dean means that the responsibility on our shoulders is even heavier. It's actually a burden. Xiao Zhan also said. Luckily that old fellow didn't let me be the dean, otherwise I would have rejected him on the spot. That's right, so many things will only hinder my cultivation. Wu Xian and Skyfall also agreed. Yi Fan frowned and asked doubtfully, why would you reject it? Isn't it just a bit tiring? But the dean's salary is quite attractive, it seems to be over 1 million spirit stones a month. Everyone almost vomited blood. Yi Fan was indeed worthy of being Yi Fan. So the reason he accepted the position of dean was because of the salary. On the side, Lu Chen was also speechless. Luckily he chose Yi Fan, otherwise he would have been rejected in front of everyone. Lu Chen secretly asked a sea of clouds, does the dean get a salary? No. A sea of clouds replied in a small voice, I don't know where that kid heard those rumors from. Lu Chen nodded, then go back and change it. Give him a month. It can't be too much, in case he runs away after earning enough. How much do you think is appropriate? A sea of clouds thought carefully and said, he won't mind if we give him more, and he won't mind if we give him less. I think we should give him a bit more, 500,000. Anyway, the Black Armor King can earn it back from this kid. Lu Chun thought about it. That was right, the Black Armor King was bound to defeat Yi Fan. Tell the Black Armor King that during Yi Fan's tenure, he can't let his assets be positive. Okay, there's no problem with that at all. After settling this matter, Lu Chun let out a long sigh of relief. He was really worried sick about the Godfiend Academy. After returning from the Heavenly Music Pavilion, the Godfiend Academy became even busier. First, they built a statue of Lu Chun in the Godfiend Temple. Although Lu Chun asked everyone to be simple, a sea of clouds and the others were not sloppy at all. They hired the best sculptor and built a 25-meter-tall stone statue in the main hall. Etion liquidated the assets of the Purple Sky Palace and the Heavenly Music Pavilion. He proposed to move the Godfiend Academy's headquarters to the Purple Sky Palace. Although the Purple Sky Palace did not leave any resources behind, there were some things they could not take away. The Purple Sky Continent's first spirit vein, the Purple Sky Spirit Vein, the Purple Sky Spirit Stone Mine, and so on. These facilities were not available in the Intentionless Mountain. As the Purple Sky Palace and the Heavenly Music Pavilion were both at the level of the continent's headquarters, the buildings did not need to be unsealed and could be used directly. Of course, this was not something that could be done overnight. It would probably have to wait until Yi Fan became the dean before it could be carried out. 7 days later, Lu Chen's statue was completed, and the Godfiend Academy's official inheritance ceremony began. The various academies of Prosperous Source Continent, the Zhongxian Go Immortal Venerable Shun Liang, the Celestial Fortress Lord, the 8 Pavilion Lords, and even the 8 Heavenly Kings of the Royal Heaven Immortal Palace, the various headquarters of the continent, and those hidden experts came. In an instant, the Intentionless Mountain was filled with a sea of people, and it was incomparably lively. Today, the inheritance ceremony of the Godfiend Academy had attracted the entire 6th heaven. Many human king experts did not even have the chance to enter the Godfiend Temple. They could only watch the illusion images in the martial arts practice field and witness this historical moment. After the ceremony began, a sea of clouds, Etion, Tai Hao, Shun Liang, and the others went up the stage at the same time and walked to a huge statue covered with a red cloth. Tai Hao said to everyone, "It has been 4 years and 3 months since the establishment of the Demonic Academy. In 4 years and 3 months, the Godfiend Academy has created the most terrifying record in the 6th heaven. And all of this is because of the owner of this statue." After saying that, the 4 of them pulled down the red cloth at the same time. A statue of a white-haired, black-robed man appeared in front of everyone. The statue's eyes were dark green, probably made of netherworld green jade. It was slightly suffused with a green mist. The statue's white hair fluttered in the wind. It had a silver gallbladder in its left hand and the Godfiend Limitless Sword in its right hand. Its expression was vivid and lifelike. It was imposing without being angry, just like a real person. There was a description of the statue under the statue. Godfiend Patriarch. Solipsistic. Chapter 1184. The explanation was rather long, mentioning Lu Chen's nickname, Nameless, and his name, Lu Chen. It also mentioned the process of him establishing the Demonic Academy, the big hunting competition, killing the King of Hell, the Prodigy competition, breaking the mystery of the main spirit vein, fighting the Dark Erosion, killing Old Devil Tianyin. The Godfiend Patriarch did his best for the Godfiend Academy. Although he had a lover, he never married. Looking at the last paragraph, Lu Chen fell into deep thought. This thing was obviously exaggerated. Since when did he have a beautiful woman to accompany him? Furthermore, wasn't it a bit too much to say that he had never married for his entire life? Long Xiang, I'm only in my 30s. How can I be unmarried? Are you hoping that I can't find a girlfriend? Lu Chen asked Long Xiang. Dean, you're going to go through the tribulations soon. You're immortal, aren't you unmarried? Besides, after becoming an immortal, very few people will find an immortal companion. Lu Chen widened his eyes anxiously. Why? Even if it's a true immortal, after transcending the tribulation, they will at least recover some of their emotions. How should I put it? It's like before the big exam in our academy. The disciples will abandon all distracting thoughts and cultivate, but after the big exam, they will all return to their dead state, and even become more serious. But transcending the tribulation is different. It's a real cut-off of lust. Although I've never seen a true immortal, I think they should be people with pure hearts and few desires. Only by seeing through the mortal world can one become an immortal. If they've seen through the mortal world, who would still find an immortal companion? Lu Chen was anxious. Didn't this mean that he would really be alone for the rest of his life? Others had seen through the mortal world? He didn't even know what the mortal world was. Even now, he was still a Li Wei should know about this. At this moment, there was a round of applause from the audience. Lu Chen was about to go on stage. Lu Chen shook his head and walked onto the stage with a heavy heart. At this point, Lu Chen could only temporarily set aside the huge regret in his heart. He briefly said a few words, and finally focused on introducing Yi Fan. He also officially passed the dean's seal to Yi Fan. When it was Yi Fan's turn to speak, the first thing he said was to bring up Lu Chen's injury. When I read the description on the ancestral statue, the last sentence moved me the most. The president has sacrificed too much for the academy. Everyone knows that the president has many beauties, but he never married for the sake of the academy. This spirit is what our demonic academy needs to carry forward. Li Wei happened to see Ronger's tearful eyes and hurriedly comforted her. Silly girl, he said, to learn the spirit of nameless sacrifice for the academy. Don't think too much about it. Ronger said aggrievedly, President, that guy Yi Fan seems to have inherited the teachings of Nameless Senior. What should I do? Yao He looked at the determined gazes of the demonic god disciples inside. These guys can't be planning to. Forget it, maybe this is the difference between geniuses and mortals. We can't understand the world of geniuses. The ceremony was just a formality. After the ceremony was over, Lu Chen secretly found Grey Crow. President, why are you looking for me? Ahem, I'm no longer the president. You'll always be the president of our demonic god academy. Grey Crow said firmly, What do you want? What kind of place did you say it was before? It's, the place where you have a membership card? Grey Crow thought for a moment. 100 Flowers Park? President, you can't be thinking of going there. You brat, what are you thinking? How could I go to such a place? It's just that there have been rumors recently. I just can't remember the name of that place. Recently, someone told me that they often see demonic god disciples indulging in debauchery at 100 Flowers Park. It's not a good thing. Grey Crow jumped in fright. However, ever since he was in charge of recruiting students from other continents, he did not have many opportunities to go to 100 Flowers Park. At most, he would go to the other continents' brothels. The president was probably not talking about him. Perhaps he was still feeling guilty, so Grey Crow quickly found an excuse to escape. Lu Chen sat alone in his room, thinking. In the blink of an eye, he was already 36 or 37 years old. Although he did not look much different from when he first entered the Jiotian continent, he was about to transcend the tribulation. If he failed, then so be it. However, if he succeeded, he would become an immortal with a virgin body. It was not a small loss. Why don't I, Hongyan? Sigh. Lu Chen sighed. Why don't I go to 100 Flowers Park to indulge myself? After thinking about it, Lu Chen gritted his teeth and decided to go to 100 Flowers Park. At that moment, Lu Chen's voice transmission talisman responded. He took it out curiously. Dad, Sister Green has broken through. Come to Zhongxiange to pick us up. When Lu Chen heard this voice, the desire that had just been ignited instantly disappeared. Little Beast was really everywhere. He only had this thought, and little beast had appeared. If it was not for the fact that he had brought back great news, Lu Chen would have rushed over and stuffed him back into the huge egg. Little Green has broken through. Lu Chen's eyes widened. He hurriedly set off for Zhongxiangu. In Zhongxianji's teleportation gate, a golden light flashed and 3 figures appeared. Lu Yi, Sky Pilfer, and Little Beast. Dad! Little Beast rushed over as soon as it saw Lu Chen. Its eyes were filled with tears. Xiao Min, she really… Lu Chen's eyes also turned red. He nodded, confirming the news. Lu Yi suddenly lost control of her emotions. She covered her face and cried. Xiao Min, Sky Pilfer saw this scene and advised, "Let's go back first. After all, this is someone else's territory." Lu Chen nodded. He summoned 10-Winged and brought the 3 back to the God and Devil Holy Courtyard. After learning about Xiao Min's sacrifice, everyone was silent. Only Sky Pilfer said, "Nameless, don't be too sad. But if you had used the Ice Flame Sword from the beginning, you might have been countered by old Devil Tianin's level 9 Heavenly Tribulation. Then you would have definitely lost." At least Xiao Min had no regrets before her death. In this Jiutian, how many people can do this? Not to mention ghost pets, weapon spirits, and battle pets like us. To be able to do this is already a blessing. Lu Chen nodded. He also knew this logic. But when Xiao Min left, everyone felt uncomfortable. Could it be that we can't revive Little Min? The little critter was already a young man now, but it still shed tears like rain. Lu Chen shook his head. I'm afraid not. If Xiao Min was only killed by old Devil Tianin, there might be a chance. But now that she is in the Heavenly Tribulation, the Heavenly Tribulation has a purifying power. It is especially terrifying for spirit bodies. No, there's still a way. Lu Yi, who had been silent all this time, suddenly said. Lu Chen looked at Little Green in shock. Xiao Min, whose soul had already been scattered, still had a chance to be reborn? Little Green, quickly say it. What's the way? Even if it's a mountain of blades and a sea of flames, above the Jiutian, below the netherworld, as long as there's a way to revive Xiao Min, I will definitely bring Xiao Min back. Chapter 1185. Boss, I talked about rebirth before. Little Green said excitedly. Lu Chen listened seriously. I know, we have been collecting materials for rebirth. Lu Yi nodded. I actually already had Xiao Min leave a remnant soul with me. If we can really gather all the materials for rebirth, Xiao Min will have hope of rebirth. Lu Chen's eyes widened. Xiao Min left a remnant soul with you? Lu Yi nodded. Xiao Min and I, the medicine boy, all yearn for the day when we no longer have to accompany Boss in spirit form. After obtaining the underworld flower, I suddenly felt that perhaps we might have such a chance. After all, such a difficult treasure to obtain, Boss, you have obtained it. This time, Senior Heaven Stealing brought me to the true immortal herb garden left behind by his previous master. I found another material, the reincarnation vermilion lily. Lu Chen was even more shocked. In other words, Xiao Min's hope of rebirth was one step closer. Then what other materials do we need? We still need 3 ingredients: heaven-mending stone powder, war god's blood, divine phoenix wings, and the most important main ingredient, the heart of the outer demon. Lu Yi said, those 3 ingredients are indeed rare, but Senior Heaven Stealing said that they can be found in high-level heaven domains. Only the heart of the outer demon, actually, that thing only appeared in legends. It is said that it is the heart of an extremely powerful demon god from beyond the heavens. But I have checked many records and there is almost no mention of demon gods from beyond the heavens. I also don't know if there is such a thing. Lu Chen frowned. Speaking of demon gods from beyond the heavens, Lu Chen really thought of a guy. When he had turned into a part of the heaven-mending divine stone, he had personally seen that huge beast from beyond the heaven-mending divine stone. There were two ways to interpret the term extraterrestrial demon god. One could be a demon outside of the Jyotian, so it could be called an extraterrestrial demon god. Another possibility was that it referred to the giant demon that was active outside the sky. However, Lu Chen didn't know where to look for the monster outside the sky curtain for the time being. Nviwa's illusory realm was just an illusory realm created by Nviwa's remnant soul. Even if he entered the illusory realm again, he wouldn't be able to obtain the heart of the outer demon. "Boss, why you know about the outer demons?" Lu Yi asked when she saw Lu Chen's strange expression. Lu Chen shook his head. "I can't be sure right now. However, since Xiao Min has a chance to be reborn, even if I have to find Goddess Nuwa herself, I have to get to the bottom of this." Lu Yi was a little disappointed. She had expected Boss to be able to obtain the heart of the outer demon now. However, the current situation was much better than before. At least they had another feasible plan. "That's right, Boss, because I only have Xiao Min's remnant soul, I only have a portion of her memories. Therefore, even if she is reborn, perhaps she won't remember a lot of things." Lu Chen took a deep breath and shook his head with a smile. "Xiao Min's background is pitiful. Forgetting might not be a bad thing. If she has a chance to be reborn, being an ordinary child is also not bad. In short, I will definitely think of a way to let her be reborn." After meeting Lu Yi this time, Lu Chen received two pieces of good news. Lu Yi had a breakthrough and Xiao Min had a chance to be reborn. This made Lu Chen, who was originally grieving, feel a lot better. Little Beast and the rest also walked out from their grief. "Dad, didn't Sister Lu say that many of the herbs are in the high-rank heavenly domain? Then let's hurry to the 7th layer of heaven." Lu Yi said, "Little Beast, don't be anxious. This matter cannot be rushed. First, ask Boss if there is anything else he needs to do in the 6th layer of heaven." Lu Chen thought for a while and said, "There are still two things. One is that I need to bring Gufei and Qingling to Earth to take a look. Also, speaking of which, I don't know where that puppet master in the 5th layer of heaven ran off to. If I don't kill that fellow, I won't be able to appease the hatred in my heart." After speaking, Lu Chen looked at Heaven Pilfering. "Senior Heaven Pilfering, I still haven't properly thanked you for this matter. This is the magic divine staff. I will now return it to its rightful owner." After speaking, Lu Chen took out the magic divine staff and handed it to Heaven Pilfering with both hands. Heaven Pilfering looked at the magic divine staff and suddenly laughed loudly. "Ha ha, Lu Chen, ah Lu Chen, you are wrong this time. I am not the owner of the magic divine staff. I am only an artifact spirit. I cannot be the owner of another artifact spirit. If you want to awaken Xiaoming, the resources in the 6th layer of heaven are not enough, so, Lu Chen, take the magic divine staff and go to the 7th layer of heaven." Lu Chen opened his eyes wide. "Senior Heaven Pilfering, you have protected Xiaoming for 1,000 years. If I take her away, won't the two of you be separated?" Heaven Pilfering sighed and lowered his head with a bitter smile. "In the past, I always told Xiaoming not to recognize Wu Nian as her master, but she just wouldn't listen. She said that artifact spirits are to assist immortal cultivators. After seeing how Wu Nian treated Xiaoming, I had already given up on immortal cultivators, until I met you. Even for a ghost pet, what more for an artifact spirit? I really didn't expect that one day I would actually recognize a master." The more Lu Chen listened, the more astonished he became. Heaven Pilfering suddenly took out a broken black spear and a cultivation technique book. This spear was about 1/2 a meter long, only the tip and a small part of the spear body. The tip of the spear was made of black metal and glowed with a metallic luster. There were a few ancient words on it, which translated to Void God-Slaying Spear. Heaven Pilfering knelt down on one knee in front of Lu Chen. "Lu Chen, if you don't mind, please accept me and the magic divine staff. I am willing to be the spirit of the monarch weapon and follow you in life and death." Lu Qin was stunned. Heaven Pilfering was actually the artifact spirit of this void god-slaying spear? And he was even more willing to follow Lu Qin. Senior Heaven Pilfering, it is Lu Qin's honor that Senior is willing to follow me. Please get up, your true body is actually a spear? Lu Qin helped Heaven Pilfering up. Heaven Pilfering looked at Lu Qin, you agree? Lu Qin smiled. As long as you don't feel that following me is lowering your status, there is no reason for me to not agree. Only then did Heaven Pilfering stand up. A spear user is a thief among soldiers. This way, Heaven Pilfering was the artifact spirit of the void god-slaying spear, which was quite appropriate. Of course, the so-called thief among soldiers is referring to the fact that the spear has many uses. It does not mean that the spear cannot be used in frontal combat. Heaven Pilfering said, "It is just that my true body has been destroyed, so as an artifact spirit, I am unable to unleash the power of the void god-slaying spear. I can only rely on my nimbleness to steal things." The true pinnacle of the spear is to be as nimble as a thief and as domineering as a king. Lu Qin nodded, then, "Senior Heaven Pilfering, can you add your steel attribute to me?" Heaven Pilfering laughed. After talking for so long, in the end, Lu Qin's thoughts were all on the steel attribute. My steel attribute could originally be added to the void god-slaying spear for a short period of time. But now that the void god-slaying spear is damaged, naturally it cannot be used. What's more, after the sixth heaven, who can steal attributes for you? As an artifact spirit, I am unable to steal attributes from those immortals. Lu Qin could not help but feel some regret. Then can the god-slaying spear and the magic divine staff be repaired? Yes, but you need to bring your own materials and find an immortal-level artifact refiner. But those are not things that can be found in the sixth heaven. In the current situation, you can first fuse the god-slaying spear with your silver gallbladder. The silver gallbladder you used before is too strong. It is a semi-divine artifact and does not have an official artifact spirit. I reckon it will not be able to hold on for long. Lu Qin frowned, fusing with the silver gallbladder. That was the weapon left behind by Chong Ming. Should he fuse with it? Chapter 1186. Lu Qin, if you don't believe me, you can take a look at the current state of the silver gallbladder. Lu Qin immediately took out the silver gallbladder and examined it carefully. Indeed, there were some small cracks on the body of the silver gallbladder spear. With Lu Qin's current strength, one could imagine how intense the battle was just based on the few opponents he had defeated recently. His strength had far surpassed Chong Ming's strength. When he used the silver gallbladder, he often poured in the underworld's fire. Weapons made of ordinary materials could not withstand it at all. Moreover, when Chong Ming and Lu Qin fought, the silver gallbladder had been in the sword tomb for 1,000 years. Oh my God, I didn't notice it. Lu Qin looked at the small cracks on the silver gallbladder spear with heartache. Although he had the Divine Demon Limitless Sword, he had used the spear more than the Divine Demon Limitless Sword during this period of time. The weapon was quite handy and the spear technique itself was very useful. If you can't bear it, you can ask the silver gallbladder for its opinion. It still has some consciousness, said Sky Pilfer. Lu Qin nodded and stroked the silver gallbladder spear body. This spear was obtained by him as a level 6 genius and was also Chong Ming's relic. It had accompanied Lu Qin in countless battles. Lu Qin was indeed reluctant to part with it, but if he did not fuse it, the silver gallbladder would really be completely destroyed. Silver gallbladder, are you willing to fuse with the void god-destroying spear? The silver gallbladder trembled slightly. Although the silver gallbladder did not have a weapon spirit, Lu Qin could clearly feel the silver gallbladder's meaning. If it could continue to fight with its master, the silver gallbladder was willing. Lu Qin nodded heavily. This way, it was equivalent to the silver gallbladder continuing to fight with him. Senior Sky Pilfer, how do I fuse it? because the Void God-destroying spear is already an equipment, so if you want to fuse it, you need to first extract the silver gallbladder and then extract some rare materials, said Sky Pilfer. It's not difficult to extract the silver gallbladder, but what materials do you need? 10 pieces of Creation Universe Stone, 10 pieces of black gold meteorite, 15 pieces of dragon bone bloodstone. Sky Pilfer reported a pile of materials. Lu Chen frowned, then took out a pile of synthetic materials from his backpack. Is this enough? Sky Thief looked at Lu Chen in shock. Where did you get so many synthetic materials? Even my former master didn't have so many of them. Lu Chen smiled. I got it from the tomb of a powerful being. I used it once when I fused with a small beast. Later, I thought it was useless. I didn't expect it to come in handy this time. That's great. The materials you have here are even better than what I said. Some of them can even be used to repair the God-slaying spear and the Sorcerer Divine staff. How about this? I'll pick out some materials. After you extract the materials and the silver gallbladder, you can leave the rest to me. The fusion will take about a month. During this time, you can deal with your own matters. Lu Chen nodded. After communicating with everyone, regardless of whether it was reviving Xiao Min or repairing the 2 divine artifacts, they all needed to go to the 7th heaven. It seemed that Lu Chen had to go to the 7th heaven as soon as possible. Lu Chen exchanged his contribution points for the morning extraction scroll. He extracted the silver gallbladder and materials and gave them to Sky Thief. He then went to the Royal Heaven Immortal Palace. Among the 8 heavenly kings, Tai Hao, Ku Ruo, and Ku Wu had already given up on their seclusion. The other 5 still entered the temple to cultivate. From Tian Xian Lu Chen finally found out about the changes in Tai Hao and the others. Simply put, the current Tai Hao was quite different from the Tai Hao he knew. I see. I originally wanted to ask Senior Tai Hao for help. Will your father still help me now? Lu Chen said, a little embarrassed. Tian Xian smiled. Thanks to the heavenly refinement, my father, my master, and junior martial uncle are different from before. I mean, their bodies have changed. They seem to have taken some things lightly. Just ask my father. Even if he's not as attentive as before, they won't forget that you saved them. Lu Chen nodded and then went to see Tai Hao and the others. Senior Tai Hao, please help me find the whereabouts of this puppet master. Lu Chen cupped his fists and explained his purpose. If it was the previous Tai Hao's remnant soul, he would have already called Lu Chen brother. However, the current Tai Hao seemed a lot more distant. Little friend Du Kuang can rest assured. Leave this matter to my Royal Heaven Immortal Palace. I'll find traces of this person in at most 20 days. Fortunately, although Tai Hao's tone was a little stiff, he still agreed readily. There's one more thing. I want to find a little golden carp. Back then, we agreed to meet at the 6th heaven. In the end, I haven't seen it yet. If I go to Heaven Connecting Tower, I'm afraid it will be very difficult to see it again. This, little friend Du Kuang, I can guarantee that you'll be able to find someone. However, I can only say that I'll try my best to find a carp. Lu Chen quickly cupped his fist. Many thanks, Senior Tai Hao. Little friend Du Kuang is too polite. Speaking of which, we still haven't properly repaid our debt of gratitude for saving our lives. During the battle with old ghost Tianyin, I also understood one thing. In the end, I still have some distracting thoughts in my heart. I won't be able to pass the 7th grade heavenly tribulation. Rather than that, I might as well let go of this obsession and spend more time with Xian Air. Ku Ruo said from the side. Little friend Du Kuang isn't a pure person. However, you were able to withstand the 9th grade heavenly tribulation and kill old ghost Tianyin. This means that there might not be only one path to becoming an immortal. Lu Chen nodded. At least they were willing to change themselves. Spending more time with Xian Air was a good thing. Xian Air was so careless that she even took the wrong medicine. Someone had to take good care of her. 2 days later, Lu Chen came to the fifth heaven to look for Lu Yi and the others. In the end, he found that Lu Yi hadn't logged into the game for a year. Gu Fei was also hesitating. Big brother, there's something I haven't had the chance to tell you, Gu Fei said with a guilty conscience. What is it? Lu Chen frowned. Big brother, you're going to be an uncle, ah? Lu Chen was stunned. When did this happen? I'll tell you. Can you not hit me? Lu Chen glared at Gu Fei. Gu Fei hurriedly said, Little E is 3 years old. What? 3 years old? Lu Chen felt that his world was about to collapse. His nephew was already 3 years old? Wait. It's been 2 years and 7 months since I returned to the 6th heaven from the Ice Plateau star. Why is my child already 3 years old? Lu Chen found that he couldn't calculate properly for the first time. Actually, when you were cultivating in the ice cave of the Ice Plateau star, Yi was already pregnant. Lu Chen's eyes widened. Counting the 8 months he spent cultivating in the ice cave of the Ice Plateau star, it was more than 3 years. In other words, the child was born when Lu Chen was cultivating in the ice cave. This can't be. I didn't see that Yi was pregnant at that time, Lu Chen said. Yi's belly wasn't big at that time. Then, when you were in the ice cave for 8 months, the child was already born. At that time, Yi said that you had something important to do back at the 6th heaven. She told us not to tell you for the time being. Lu Chen wanted to kick Gu Fei away. How could he hide such a thing from him? But on second thought, this was Lu Yi's idea. Moreover, the two of them were already married. Having a child was no big deal. In fact, it was a joyous occasion. You guys are you trying to cook rice with me? I was wondering why your great-grandmother liked Lu Yi so much that she wouldn't let go of her hand. Big brother, if you want to hit us, then hit us. We shouldn't hide it from you. But we also know that the 6th heaven is dangerous. We were just afraid that you would be distracted. Lu Chen shook his head. You said the child is called Little E? Beishue? Yes. 3 years old. E has been taking care of the child all this time? By the time you brought me to Earth, it would have been too late, Gu Fei complained. E had already applied for it. I have already been living on Earth for more than 2 years. Something came up with my family, so I just came back. Good fellow, you two little bastards. Lu Chen also had nothing to say. This matter was also his fault. How long had it been since he came back? Who could bear to see him so late? Forget it, I'm not going to argue with you now. I'm going back to see my nephew. Lu Chen scolded, but his mood didn't seem to be that bad. Why didn't you tell me about such a big matter earlier? When the child grows up, he won't even recognize this uncle. That's terrible. After saying that, Lu Chen directly disappeared from where he was. Gu Fei finally felt relieved. Fortunately, Big Brother didn't really beat him up. Big Brother, we also wanted to tell you earlier, but we also needed a chance, Gu Fei said with a smile. Chapter 1187. Lu Chen returned to Earth and hurriedly opened the game cabin door. Immediately, he heard sounds coming from downstairs. Lu Yi seemed to be cooking in the kitchen, and Li Muhua was sitting on the sofa watching the news in the living room. However, when he looked closely, it was not Li Muhua who was watching the news. He was watching it with a little guy. Lu Chen could not help but look at the little figure. It was true that boys looked like their mothers. The little guy looked exactly like Lu Yi when she was young. They were practically carved out of the same mold. He had big watery eyes and a chubby little face. However, his skin was much fairer than Lu Yi's when she was young. Perhaps he resembled Gu Fei. This was his own nephew. The more Lu Chen looked at him, the more he liked him. However, this little guy was not watching Page but was watching some Jiutian documentary? He was even more serious than Li Muhua. Li Muhua peeled an orange for the little guy. The little guy was very polite. Thank you, Uncle Muhua. Li Muhua smiled and patted the little guy's head. Uncle Muhua, the television said that my uncle is the strongest god of war and has helped the players on Earth many times. Is he really stronger than everyone? Of course. Your uncle is not an ordinary person. Then is my uncle stronger or my father stronger? Li Muhua laughed. About that, you can ask your father or your uncle later. It's a pity that your uncle is not at home most of the time. I haven't seen him in a long time. At this moment, Lu Yi came out with the dishes. Brother Muhua, little E, come and eat. Brother Muhua, there's nothing much. Just eat a little. I have to go back to Jiutian in the afternoon. Help me go to little Yi's parent-teacher conference. I already said that I will assign a few special agents to you. Look at how tiring it is to take care of a child alone. Li Muhua said. Lu Yi said, Brother Muhua, my brother and I did not have parents to accompany us when we were young. I don't want little E to be like that. Gufei has something going on at home. When he is done, I will not be so busy. Anyway, it's not like I can't cultivate at home. Li Muhua also knew about Lu Chen and his sister. It was reasonable that Lu Yi wanted to spend more time with her son. Alright, Xiao Yi, let's eat first. Uncle will attend your parent-teacher meeting in the afternoon. Our Xiaoyi is going to kindergarten too. Li Muhua carried Xiaoyi and walked to the dining table. At this moment, Li Muhua raised his head and saw a person standing on the second floor with a dazed look on his face. His eyes were moist. Morning. Hearing Li Muhua's words, Lu Yi and Xiaoyi raised their heads and looked at the person upstairs in shock. Brother, Lu Chen came down from upstairs and walked straight to Xiaoyi. Brother, I didn't tell you, this is, Lu Chen smiled at Lu Yi. It's not your fault. It's my fault. I didn't come back often, and you were worried about my safety, so you didn't tell me. If Gu Fei was here, he would probably suffer internal injuries from anger. Big Brother's attitude towards his younger sister was far too different from his attitude towards himself. Hello, Zhu Yi. Do you know who I am? You're my mother's brother. Your uncle. Lu Chen was overjoyed. You figured it out at such a young age? I was still muddle-headed when I was your age. Li Muhua smiled. Morning, you don't know this, but Xiaoyi isn't an ordinary child. He's especially smart and has a high IQ. His physique is also extraordinary. Lu Chen already understood. He wasn't considered a genius, but Li Muhua meant that Xiaoyi was a true genius. Xiaoyi, call me uncle. Lu Yi said excitedly when she saw that her brother didn't blame her. Xiaoyi kept looking at Lu Chen curiously. Uncle, who's better between you and Daddy? Lu Chen laughed. The little guy didn't forget about this question. Your daddy is the best on Ice Plateau planet. As for your uncle, I'm considered the strongest on Earth. So we can't compare who's better. Lu Yi and Li Muhua heard this and knew that Lu Chen didn't want to ruin the child's image of a father. After all, in a child's heart, their father was the best. Xiaoyi frowned slightly and thought for a while. Then I want to be like Daddy and Uncle in the future and become the best. Everyone saw how serious the little guy was and couldn't help but laugh. Since Lu Chen was back and he had time, Lu Chen attended the parent-teacher meeting in the afternoon. Although Xiaoyi was talented, Lu Yi didn't want the military to treat him like a monster and nurture him alone. So, she went to kindergarten with other children of the same age. However, Lu Yi's identity was different, and Xiaoyi's talent was different from ordinary people. Jiutian mixed blood like Beishui wasn't the only one. In the fifth heaven, there were a few cases of interracial marriages. However, the Earth Alliance didn't allow other interracial marriages to enter Earth other than Lu Yi's family. After all, it was very dangerous to expose Earth's location. As for Lu Yi, other than Lu Chen's influence, it was more the result of Gu Fei's hard work. He had contributed a lot to Earth's players, and this was obvious to all. That was why the Alliance approved Lu Yi's application. Although the Alliance didn't allow other races to enter Earth, As the new generation of Jiutian, Earth paid great attention to them. Through a simple test, it was found that there were a total of 5 newborns from interracial marriages, and all of them were very talented. Because of this, the higher-ups arranged for Xiaoyi to go to Huadu Kindergarten. Huadu Kindergarten was a kindergarten under the jurisdiction of Huaxia. Other than the general cultural and sports classes, there were also some basic Jiutian exercises. It was currently one of the most professional and formal Jiutian kindergartens in the world. Huadu Kindergarten had a helipad. Just from this point alone, one could already imagine how ridiculous this kindergarten was. The families that could afford to attend this kindergarten were usually not even rich people. In the afternoon, Lu Chen brought Xiaoyi to Huadu Kindergarten. Lu Chen had 10 wingers, but no car. This was a little awkward. The kindergarten was quite far away. Although it was in Jiangcheng, it was quite remote. Previously, he won a concept sports car from Tianqing in a competition on Earth, but he sold it to the military. Now, he could only carry Xiaoyi and walk there. At most, he could use some displacement skills in places where there was no one around. Xiaoyi wasn't afraid of strangers, and kept staring at Lu Chen curiously. Suddenly, Xiaoyi couldn't hold back her curiosity and asked, "Uncle, they said they have a very powerful mount? Can I have a seat?" Lu Chen looked at Xiaoyi and smiled. If it were someone else, he might be too lazy to summon 10 wingers. He was a low-profile person, and 10 wingers would be too eye-catching. However, in the face of his nephew's first request, Lu Chen couldn't bear to refuse. "Of course you can, but aren't you afraid?" "Xiaoyi isn't afraid. I want to go to Jiutian in the future," the little guy said solemnly. The more Lu Chen looked at this little guy, the more he liked him. He was a little like his mother when she was young. He was a little older, but his courage was no less than that of an adult. Huadu Kindergarten. The parking lot was filled with limited-edition luxury cars worth tens of millions. However, luxury cars were nothing here, and there were private helicopters landing on the helipad. What was interesting was that a kindergarten's parent-teacher meeting was surrounded by many people. "Oh my God, is this still a kindergarten? What kind of families are these? Even a 10 million luxury car is embarrassing. Let me tell you, even high-ranking officials and rich people can't enter. I have a friend whose family is worth at least a few billion, and he can't even send his child here. I know that there are many level 5 super experts here. Their children's attributes will be higher than ordinary children, and the whole world values the development of these children. This batch of super kindergartens is specially built for these children. A super expert of the 5th heaven? Oh my God! No matter what, I still think it's too exaggerated to send children to kindergarten by helicopter. Look, there are many helicopters coming here." While they were talking, the surrounding helicopters suddenly made an emergency landing. They hadn't reached the helipad yet, and they were scattered around, looking a little hasty. Not long after, the clouds in the sky rolled, and the figure of a shocking dragon faintly appeared. Chapter 1188. Roar. A dragon's roar reverberated through the sky. Tenwing seemed to be unhappy with the slow landing of the helicopters. Lu Chen was speechless. He patted Tenwing and said, "Tenwing, they are just helicopters. Let them go. There are children on the plane. Don't cause any accidents. Keep your dragon's aura." Tenwing's temper was much worse than before. However, since its boss had spoken, it became obedient. A dragon appeared in the sky. The parents of the children who came to attend the parent-teacher conference, the crowd on the ground, and even the TV station in the kindergarten went crazy. What is that?" "No, that is Mad God's mount, 9-wing. Oh my God, it is Mad God. F***ck, he's just sending a child to kindergarten, and he's riding a mount here. Luxury cars and private jets worth tens of millions can't compare to this mount. Quick, get down on 9-wing. A TV station host said anxiously, Everyone, this is Jiangqing TV station. Do you see that? That is Mad God's mount. Mad God is here. Mad God is here. Now, Lu Chen's status is no longer comparable to that of an international star. For many people, it was a great honor to be able to see Mad God. At Huadu Kindergarten, the city leaders, the principal, and the military representatives hurried out of the office building and looked up at the dragon. Mad God is here too. Principal Zhang, didn't you say that Xiaoyi's uncle is coming today? Why didn't you say that Mad God is coming personally? This I really didn't know. I have confirmed it with Xiaoyi's mother several times. A woman with a rather outstanding temperament, who had changed her usual gentle image, was now a little flustered. Quick, make room on the tarmac. Nine Wing is too big. Many children looked at the giant dragon hovering in the air in horror. Daddy, that's really a dragon. Yes, that is Mad God's mount, Nine Wing. The number of wings is a little wrong. Maybe I am seeing things. Do you still remember Mad God? Yes, he is the strongest god of war on earth. I will surpass him in the future. Lu Chen was a little regretful now. He had agreed to his nephew's request too hastily. The commotion below was too big. This was not in line with his usual low-key style. However, he was still his nephew, and the time he could spend with Zhu Yi could be counted on one hand. As an uncle, he couldn't bear to refuse the little fellow's request. Someone in the square used a loudspeaker to talk to Lu Chen. Excuse me, is this Mr. Mad God? Lu Chen carried Xiaoyi and stood on the dragon's head. After seeing Lu Chen, there was an uproar below. It really is Mad God. Oh my God, I saw a living one. That's the legend among the players on Earth. I don't want to worship him too much. Mr. Mad God, we are adjusting the position of the tarmac. Your mount is a little big. Please wait for a moment. Lu Chen waved his hand from above, indicating that they should not trouble themselves. Then, Lu Chen patted Tenwing. Tenwing, go back. You're too big. Their helipad is suitable for helicopters. It's not easy to arrange. Xiaoyi, Uncle will jump down with you. Don't be afraid. Okay, Xiaoyi, I'm not afraid. Lu Chen smiled and retracted Tenwing. He carried Xiaoyi and jumped down from a height of a few hundred meters. Finally, he landed steadily on the ground. As soon as Lu Chen landed, a large number of people surrounded him. These big shots in the eyes of others instantly became Lu Chen's fans. Mr. Mad God, can I have your autograph? I'm also at level 5. I saw you come to the aid country last time. Mad God, I'm your fan, please take a picture with me. Mad God, I love you. A certain mother lost her mind. Lu Chen was speechless. He was here to attend the parent-teacher conference. Everyone, let's go to the parent-teacher conference as soon as possible. At this moment, a large group of leaders hurried over. Mad God. A middle-aged man with an elegant demeanor smiled at Lu Chen. Secretary Su often mentions you to me. I'm the new mayor of Jiangjiang City. Lu Chen could not help but look at this person. How is Secretary Su these days? He has retired. But this is good. Secretary Su is now over level 200. His health is better than before. Lu Chen could not help but laugh. Secretary Su is also over level 200. Yes, he's old but not old. His motivation to level up is no less than that of young people. Moreover, Jiutian cultivation is very good for his body even if he can't reach level 5 for now. Lu Chen was relieved to hear this news. Secretary Su had taken good care of him and Lu Yi in the past. By the way, I'm really sorry. I thought there were not many people here, so I rode Tenwing here. I didn't expect there to be so many people here. Lu Chen was a little embarrassed. Principal Zhang quickly said, Don't mind it, Mad God. Because of our special position, our kindergarten attracted a lot of attention. I didn't inform you in advance. Mad God can't be invited. We don't even dare to think about coming to our Huadu kindergarten. Principal Zhang looked at Lu Chen eagerly. After all, a person like Mad God was very attractive to many women. Lu Chen smiled. I think we shouldn't stand here. We can't let the children wait. The parent-teacher conference is almost here. Let's go in immediately. Yes, yes, yes. We can't let the children wait. Everyone quickly agreed. Mad God, please come this way. Lu Chen attended the parent-teacher conference seriously. Although the leaders and a lot of people from the television station surrounded him, he did not take it seriously. After all, he had already experienced being surrounded countless times. Xiaoyi's class teacher was a level 4 expert. It was said that she would soon reach level 5. Although her strength was not the best on Earth, having a level 4 expert as a teacher in a kindergarten was enough to show the quality of the teachers in Huadu kindergarten. Lu Chen also understood the current situation on Earth. At present, the large number of newborns born on Earth were much stronger than humans in the past. Because of this, the kindergarten added many cultivation classes. Although they were very simple, they had already started to train these little guys from childhood. Unexpectedly, cultivation had been brought forward to preschool. Even the entrance test had an additional attribute test. He still remembered that when Jiutian first came online, Tianxing said that the Jiutian would change the fate of mankind. Now, it seemed that Earth had changed dramatically in the 10 years of Jiutian. Earth might become even stronger in the future. Of course, the premise was that Earth had a future. Chapter 1189. Soon, the military contacted Lu Chen and asked him about his schedule. Lu Chen rejected the suggestion of going to the headquarters of the Alliance. He said that he wanted to spend some time with Xiaoyi. For the next half a month, Lu Chen really spent all his time with Xiaoyi. Traveling, shopping, eating good food, going to the amusement park, buying toys. When Lu Yi was not home, Lu Chen treated Xiaoyi like his own son. Fortunately, it was not Lu Chen's first time being a stay-at-home dad. He quickly gained Xiaoyi's approval and called him uncle affectionately. Originally, the Lu family only had Lu Chen and his sister, who depended on each other for survival. Now that there was a smart and quick-witted little fellow, he felt that the house had suddenly become lively, which made Lu Chen extremely happy. When Lu Yi returned to Earth, she looked at the two of them playing in the living room and couldn't help but laugh. Brother, you've spoiled Xiaoyi. I don't even let him eat so many snacks. Lu Chen laughed. I don't care. I'm his uncle. I'm in charge of spoiling him. You're in charge of teaching him. Brother. Lu Yi stared at Lu Chen coquettishly. At night, Xiaoyi was already asleep. Lu Yi came to the living room and chatted with Lu Chen. Brother, when are you going back to Jiutian? Lu Chen sighed. Looking at the time, I should be going back soon. Lu Yi nodded and fell silent. This time, her brother had stayed the longest since he came back. However, she went to Jiutian and the siblings only met a few times. "Oh right, when are you going to the sixth heaven?" Lu Chen suddenly asked. It seemed that no players from Earth had entered the sixth heaven yet. Brother, it might take some time. In the fifth heaven, not only do we have to increase the strength of our fighting soul, we also have to increase the strength of our physical body. It's very difficult for us. Moreover, although the guide plan has been in place for a few years, to pass the fifth heaven, one would need to be at least 4 or 5 stars of Theo the Great. Regardless of whether it is the fighting soul or the actual body, the requirements are too high. Lu Chen finally understood why Lu Yi wanted to get married and have children. Other than age, it was actually very difficult for Earth players to enter the sixth heaven in a short period of time. The fifth layer of heaven was worthy of being called the Jiutian heavenly domain with a qualitative change. Perhaps it was the next generation or the generation after that. In short, for most people, the fifth celestial layer was the limit. Lu Chen thought for a while and said, There are basically no wild beasts in the fifth heavenly layer for you to upgrade your war soul. You can only rely on cultivation. I'll go back and see if I can get a set of better mental cultivation techniques for you. After upgrading the fighting soul, we can withdraw the scroll. After all, we have the mineral veins. Lu Yi looked at her brother. Brother, what level are you now? Lu Chen immediately took out his badge. 9-star Savage King Realm. Savage King? Lu Yi looked confused. Brother, you've been wild all the way here? Lu Chen smiled faintly. I can't help it. When I go back this time, I'll probably have to undergo the tribulation. Lu Yi's eyes widened. Tribulation? Brother was about to undergo the tribulation? This was too unreal. Thinking back to the past, her brother had gone through many difficulties step by step. Finally, he was only one step away from becoming an immortal. Thinking of this, Lu Yi was sincerely happy for her brother. Brother, when I was young, I always said that I wanted to protect you. Actually, it has always been you who has been protecting us, Lu Chen smiled. It seems like the only impression you have of your mother is this sentence. At that time, you were still young and probably didn't understand the meaning of this sentence. You just foolishly remembered this sentence. Lu Yi smiled and shook her head. She really missed the times when she was a child. Suddenly, Lu Chen said, Actually, Lu Yi, you have always been protecting me. Lu Yi didn't understand. But Lu Chen didn't continue. After all, he was the one who was in danger. Since it was all in the past, he didn't want his sister to worry. Alright, Xiaoyi is a good child. His physique is indeed different from ordinary people. He is also smart and quick-witted. If you nurture him well, he might achieve more than me in the future. Brother, to reach your level of achievement is not something ordinary people can do. I didn't know that Xiaoyi could achieve your level of achievement. It's good that he is stronger than Gufei. Stronger than Gufei? That was actually not an easy task. However, Gufei would definitely not be like him, only coming back once every few years. With careful nurturing, Xiaoyi would definitely achieve something in the future. The time spent together flew by quickly, and Lu Chen returned to his room. The room was very clean. He was not at home all year round, but his sister had always cleaned it. Lu Chen opened the drawer and took out a modeled old photo. In the photo, a man was hugging a beautiful woman in one arm and a baby in the other. There was a scar at the corner of the man's eyebrow, but it didn't affect his bright smile. The beautiful woman tilted her head and leaned on the man's shoulder. Beside her stood a shy boy who was about 4 or 5 years old. The beautiful woman's other hand was on the boy's shoulder. This was a family photo. They were happy and harmonious. The family wasn't rich, but their faces were filled with happy smiles. Seeing this photo, Lu Chen's eyes reddened. Mu Xian once said that he knew Lu Chen's father. What was Mu Xian's level? Itinerant immortal. Which level of heaven had the most itinerant immortals? 7th heaven. Lu Chen's next stop was the 7th heaven. Dad, Mom, are you at the 7th heaven? I must find you. Lu Chen looked at the photo blankly and said in a daze. The next day, Lu Chen said goodbye to Xiaoyi. The little guy was crying. Fortunately, Lu Chen was comforting him. In the end, he turned around and entered the teleportation pod. Jiutian, Lu Chen's battlefield. When Lu Chen returned to his residence, he found a note left by a sea of clouds on the table. There's news from the Imperial Heaven Immortal Palace. Lu Chen immediately went to the Imperial Heaven Immortal Palace. He found out from Taihao that the puppet master he was looking for had passed the tribulation. Tribulation? He passed the tribulation? Lu Chen was surprised. Yes, but he should have failed, Taihao said. I think he knows that you are looking for him. With your current reputation in the 6th heaven, it's not impossible to find him. He can only take the risk and pass the tribulation. Lu Chen frowned. How do you know that he failed the tribulation? If someone really defies the heavens and passes the tribulation, there will be a star phenomenon in the Tongtian continent. However, there hasn't been a star phenomenon in the sixth heaven recently. However, Lu Chen, you have to be careful. The strength of an itinerant immortal is generally stronger than a peak 9-star human king. After all, the upper limit of one's attributes has increased by a lot. Lu Chen nodded. It seemed that he still had to go to the seventh heaven to kill the puppet master. Is there any news about the little koi? I'm really sorry. We used almost all of the connections in the Imperial Heaven Immortal Palace, but we still couldn't find the koi you mentioned. Lu Chen sighed. It seemed that his fate with the little koi ended here. He couldn't waste any more time looking for the little koi. Lu Chen, are you going to pass the tribulation soon? Taihao asked. Lu Chen nodded. When Senior Heaven Pilfering fuses the silver guts with the void god-destroying spear, it will be the time for me to pass the tribulation. Are you sure you don't want to wait a little longer? After old Devil Tianyin died, the weather didn't improve. We guessed wrong. Old Devil Tianyin didn't affect the weather at all. In other words, you are the one that the Jiutian can't tolerate. Taihao stared at Lu Chen. I wonder what level your tribulation will be. Chapter 1190. 10 days later, Sky Pilfer finally completed the fusion of the silver gallbladder and the void god-slaying spear. The biggest change to the spear now was that the spear's body and tip had turned black. It was emitting a metallic luster. The triangular spear tip looked more like the tip of the void god-slaying spear. The new spear in his hand was very heavy. It felt heavier than the previous silver gallbladder. However, this made Lu Chen feel that it was more convenient for him. The final fusion effect is better than I expected, Sky Pilfer said. I used high-grade synthetic stones to strengthen the weapon and at the same time, ensure the spear's toughness. Master, then I can enter the god-slaying spear, Sky Pilfer said. Okay, if I can successfully pass the tribulation and reach the seventh heaven, I will find a way to repair the god-slaying spear and magic divine staff. Master, if I didn't believe you, I wouldn't have recognized you as my master. Sky Pilfer laughed. Oh right, you still have to practice and comprehend the void god-slaying spear. Apart from the limitation of agility, you still need to comprehend it yourself to unleash its true power. Different comprehensions will result in different power. Lu Chen frowned. There's such a cultivation technique? This situation is not rare among immortal techniques, Sky Pilfer said. Okay, when you cultivate, I will tell you more method. Thank you. Sky Pilfer smiled and glanced at Lu Chen. He nodded and then disappeared. He had entered the void god-slaying spear. The void god-slaying spear's weapon spirit returned. The spear trembled slightly and exploded with a burst of violent spiritual energy. It directly sent the table in Lu Chen's room flying. Master, Sky Pilfer is willing to follow Master to conquer the world. Lu Chen held the black spear and nodded. Okay, let's go to the heaven-reaching pagoda. Sixth heaven, heaven-reaching road. There were no academies here, but it was always crowded. Academies from various continents had set up offices here to check if the top experts in the sixth heaven had passed the tribulation. A white light flashed in the teleportation array on the outskirt. Many people saw it, but they only looked up and then lowered their heads to do their own things. Not everyone who came to the Heavenspan Road was here to transcend their tribulation. It was more likely that someone from a certain academy had come to change shift. However, not long after, a figure appeared in everyone's line of sight, causing a commotion in the surroundings. Yes, it's solipsistic. Oh my God, it's him. Did he come alone? Is he going to pass the tribulation? It's really solipsistic. This is the highest level of combat power in the sixth heavenly layer. Even old Devil Tianyin died in his hands. This guy is finally here to transcend the tribulation. Lu Chen looked at the people around him and didn't pay too much attention to them. He raised his head and looked into the distance. In the distance, a tall tower that towered into the clouds was standing there. Sky Split Tower. I'm coming again. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. After saying that, he summoned 10-winged and flew in the direction of Sky Split Tower. At the same time, the news that Solipsistic had come to Sky Split Tower quickly spread throughout the 6th layer of heaven. All the teleportation portals in the headquarters began to operate crazily. He was the one who was most likely to succeed in transcending the tribulation. Who didn't want to see someone transcend the tribulation and become an immortal? 10-winged flew for more than 10 minutes and arrived in front of Sky Split Tower. What was surprising was that this place was already surrounded by a crowd. Solipsistic is really here. Am I going to witness Solipsistic becoming an immortal with my own eyes? Speaking of which, it's been a long time since I've seen someone successfully transcend the tribulation. Lu Chen kept 10-winged, and the crowd immediately made way for him. Unknowingly, the sky above Sky Split Tower had been covered by dark clouds. There were flashes of lightning and thunder in the sky, as if the gods were angry. Suddenly, the surrounding wind blew violently. In front of Sky Split Tower, sand and stones flew. Oh my God, what a strong wind! I've never seen such a strong wind before. I can't even stand properly. Someone couldn't help but say in surprise. What's going on? I've stayed in Sky Split Tower for 30 years, and I've never seen such a strange situation. I don't think so either. There's never been such a record. This demonic wind was indeed strange. These people were all above Theo the Great's level. How could a mere gust of wind make them lose their footing? Yet, the hurricane in front of Sky Split Tower was fierce to such an extent. With every step Lu Chen took, there was a strong resistance. It was as if someone was stopping Lu Chen from going to Sky Split Tower. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes. What's wrong? Are you afraid that I'll transcend the tribulation and become an immortal, so you won't let me go to Sky Split Tower? You don't really think that you can stop me with this, do you? Then, Lu Chen coldly snorted. He directly activated Celestial Demon Symbiosis and went against the wind. Lu Chen stood in front of Sky Split Tower amidst the strong wind. In the past, he always came to Sky Split Tower to fight celestial domain bosses. But this time, he came to transcend the tribulation. Lu Chen snorted coldly and directly entered Sky Split Tower. In the blink of an eye, Lu Chen had already entered Sky Split Tower. Surprisingly, this level of Sky Split Tower was not a sealed space. Instead, it was an open grassland. The sky was blue and the clouds were white. It was very spacious. He was the only one in the entire grassland. Not far in front of Lu Chen was a futon. There were also scrolls on the futon. Lu Chen walked over, picked up the scrolls, and opened them. They were some explanations about the heavenly tribulation. Mortals must go through thousands of tribulations to temper their physical body and purify their soul. The heavenly tribulation must be withstood by the body. It cannot be avoided or resisted. The strength of the heavenly tribulation varies from person to person. For those who obey the heavenly tribulation is weak. For those who defy the heavenly tribulation is strong. The heavenly tribulation can be divided into many elements. Metal, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, thunder, fire, and volcano can all become a tribulation. Transcending the tribulation requires one to be at the peak of the 9-star human king realm. The person transcending the tribulation sits cross-legged on the heavenly tribulation futon. The tribulation will arrive soon. If one succeeds, one will become a perfected immortal and jump out of the 6 realms. If one fails, one will either die or live. If one survives, one will become an itinerant immortal and one's strength will increase greatly. However, one will never become a perfected immortal. If one dies, one's soul will scatter and turn into ashes. The tribulation transcendence pill can save one's life. True immortals and itinerant immortals can enter the seventh heavenly domain. That was all the introduction. Lu Chen put the scrolls aside and swallowed a tribulation transcendence pill. He took a deep breath, stood on the futon, and bent over to sit cross-legged. At this moment, even Lu Chen, who had experienced level 9 heavenly refinement, could not help but feel a little nervous. This was a real heavenly tribulation. Whether or not he could become an immortal would depend on the tribulation today. After taking a deep breath, Lu Chen opened his eyes wide. Come on, heavenly tribulation. With a boom, the originally clear sky suddenly turned dark. Following that, the sky was filled with continuous thunder. It was as if the sky was about to be torn into pieces by thick thunderbolts. Solipsistic, you're finally here. A deep voice suddenly sounded from the sky. I have to admire you. You actually have the guts to experience the heavenly tribulation. Do you think the Jiutian will let you transcend the tribulation and become an immortal? Ha 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 ha. Who are you? Lu Chen's eyes widened. There were no bosses in the 6th floor of the sky-reaching tower, only the heavenly tribulation. It doesn't matter who I am. You just need to know that what you're going to face next will be a super heavenly tribulation. At the same time, outside the sky-reaching tower, the sky-reaching continent seemed to have fallen into darkness. Only the light screen in front of the sky-reaching tower showed the level of the heavenly tribulation that the challenger would face. Level 12, Super Heavenly Tribulation. Chapter 1191. Seeing the notice in front of Tong Tian Tower, everyone was shocked. Isn't the highest level tribulation only level 9? How can there be level 12? It can't be. Although it's an extremely ominous phenomenon, it can't be so exaggerated. I've never heard of a tribulation above level 9. If it's a level 9 tribulation, Solipsistic has already proven that he can easily pass it. That's why we thought he would definitely become an immortal. But now level 12. It's 700 times stronger than a level 9 tribulation. If that's the case, then Solipsistic is in danger. Time passed by minute by minute. There was no live broadcast here, and there were no shadow stones. People could only wait anxiously. They could see lightning flashing and thunder rumbling inside Tong Tian Tower. Flames soared into the sky, and the tower shook. For an entire day, Tong Tian Tower still did not show the final result. It's already been a day. Did he pass or not? People waited anxiously. The next day, the dark clouds in Tong Tian continent did not disperse. Someone tried to enter Tong Tian Tower, showing that someone was trying to pass the tribulation. It can't be. In the past, there would be results in a few hours. This time, there's actually no news after 2 days? In such a powerful tribulation, he can hold on for 2 days? Who can bear this? The 3rd day. God and Demon Academy, Emperor Heaven Immortal Palace, Zhongxian Gu, Celestial Fortress, and other major forces experts all rushed to Tong Tian continent. The dean hasn't come out for 3 days? Yi Fan anxiously asked the disciple arranged by God and Demon Academy here. The disciple frowned. It's been 3 days. In these 3 days, Tong Tian Tower has not announced any information. Whether he succeeded or failed, we have no way of knowing. Yi Fan looked at a sea of clouds in shock. Uncle, a sea of clouds, has this happened before? A sea of clouds shook his head. 3 days? This kind of thing is unheard of. It's already very difficult to hold on for a few hours in a tribulation, not to mention that the dean is facing a level 12 tribulation. It's simply inconceivable that he can hold on for 3 days. But even if he became a loose immortal, he should have come out long ago, Mabe said curiously. However, although everyone was anxious, there was nothing they could do. The only thing they could do now was to wait in front of the Tower of Babel. Jiutian. Inside Skysplit Tower, it was like hell on earth. The world was in a state of chaos as huge lightning bolts crazily struck the ground. The entire plain was filled with a sea of fire. Lu Chen sat cross-legged on the praying mat. Together, he suffered from the raging fire burning his body and heavenly thunder crashing down on him. Outsiders only knew that the solipsistic heavenly tribulation was a level 12 super-tribulation, but they didn't know that this super-tribulation was actually a dual tribulation of thunder and fire. Even though Lu Chen had extremely terrifying three-dimensional attributes, he was already exhausted in the face of such a heavenly tribulation. At this moment, his expression was ferocious as he forcefully endured the extreme pain coming from his body. His entire body was drenched in sweat, and there were many wounds on his body. What was strange was that his injuries were not only burns, but also wounds caused by sharp metal weapons and scratches caused by stones. At this moment, Lu Chen had also reached his limit. His entire body was on the verge of collapse. Finally, the lightning tribulation stopped. The dark clouds dispersed, and the fire on the ground extinguished. Large patches of tender shoots grew on the scorched ground. Lu Chen opened his eyes slightly. What he saw now was the blue sky, white clouds, and green grassland. He was still sitting alone on the praying mat. "It's over." Lu Chen panted heavily and narrowed his eyes slightly. He ignored the terrible injuries on his body and used the last of his strength to roar, "Is this all you've got? I'm not dead yet." This was not the first tribulation he had passed, but the third. Before this, he had already reset 2 tribulations. Each time, it was a level 12 tribulation, and the last 2 were dual elemental tribulations. The wounds on his body were caused by multiple tribulations. Lu Chen didn't know who the speaker was, but there was no doubt that he represented the Jiutian, and the Jiutian was determined to kill him this time. The Jiutian had begun to blatantly break the rules of the game and reset the tribulations continuously. This time, the Jiutian would not allow him to become a true immortal. Lu Chen collapsed on the ground, but his heart was very happy at this moment. Although he was exhausted, Lu Chen couldn't help but laugh. The more he laughed, the louder and crazier he laughed. "Ha ha, ha ha ha, ha 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 ha. You're targeting me, right? I, Lu Chen, am not afraid of being targeted. Come on. Let's see how many more tribulations you have." Cough, cough, cough. Lu Chen spat out a mouthful of blood. But just as Lu Chen was laughing, the voice sounded again. "Tribulations reset." After that person finished speaking, a robotic voice sounded for the first time. "If you exceed the number of resets, the Tower of Babel will automatically open the portal to the 7th heaven." That person was extremely angry. "Are you kidding me? Exceed the number of resets? The privilege of a venerable immortal is forcibly reset. Level 12. Type, ice, fire, wind, thunder, and earth elemental tribulations." The machine's voice sounded again. "Authorization verified. 3rd reset activated. 3rd reset activated. Level 12 tribulations, 5 elements." Seeing that the reset took effect, that person laughed wildly. "Ha ha ha ha, solipsistic, you can't go against destiny. No matter how crazy you are, no matter how strong you are, can you be stronger than the heavens? I'm not afraid to tell you that from the moment you entered the Tower of Babel, even the Tribulation Transcendence pill can't protect you. You're destined to die here. This time, no one will come to help you." Lu Chen's eyes were bloodshot and he was somewhat weak. "I won't watch my friends die for me again. Even if I die here, I can say that I, Lu Chen, have lived an honest and upright life with a clear conscience, unlike you, despicable and shameless people. Dad, let little beast help you. These beasts are so unfair to you. I'll fight them." Little Featherball, Little Originator, Rhubarb, Little Green, and even Limitless Sword and Sky Thief couldn't stand it anymore. For others, the highest level, 9 tribulations would only be once, and there would only be one element. But for Lu Chen, Not only did he have to undergo level 12 tribulations, but he also had to undergo 3 consecutive tribulations. No matter how strong a person was, he couldn't stand being bombarded by level 12 tribulations. This wasn't tribulation, this was Lu Chen's punishment. Lu Chen could hear little beasts' hysterical roar, and he could also feel everyone's desire to fight, but he firmly suppressed them and didn't let them come out. I'm sorry, I may not be able to take you to the 7th heaven. Lu Chen was also very clear about this point. He no longer had the ability to resist this tribulation. But, even if I die, I will never admit defeat. Lu Chen's head drooped. He was already dying, but he still suppressed his injuries and forced himself to sit up, ready to accept the 4th tribulation. The level 12 tribulation of the 5 elements was mercilessly bombarding him. The corner of Lu Chen's eyes twitched. This time, he was determined to not be able to hold on. His Jiuqian road was probably coming to an end here. But at this moment, Lu Chen discovered that a portal had opened a few thousand meters away from him. This was the portal to the 7th heaven, opened automatically by the Tower of Babel. Chapter 1192. Now, Lu Chen was unable to determine what the teleportation door was for. However, the machine voice seemed to have mentioned the automatic opening of the 7th heaven teleportation door. Regardless of whether it was true or not, there was no doubt that the door was the only way to survive. Originally, Lu Chen did not think that he would have a chance to survive. However, when he saw the door, Lu Chen seemed to see hope again. The heavenly tribulation was about to arrive. Lu Chen suddenly burst out with all the spiritual energy in his body. Celestial Demon Symbiosis, Celestial Demon Heaven's Might, Celestial Demon Astral Body, Dragon God Form, 9 Void Steps. Lu Chen used all the skills of the heavenly tribulation and rushed towards the door like a madman. With a loud bang, a bolt of lightning struck Lu Chen. Lu Chen's figure paused and saw the other heavenly tribulations following closely behind. Buddha Body Clone, 9 Void Steps. At the critical moment, Lu Chen desperately used the skill. 2 of the 3 clones were instantly pierced through by the stone sword. In an instant, Lu Chen's final body passed through the door. Suddenly, the Tong Tian Tower quieted down. After the heavenly tribulations lost their target, they disappeared. The figure in the sky looked on helplessly as Lu Chen escaped from under his eyelids and let out a shocking roar. Ah! Lu Chen! Although he was furious, that guy did not make a move. Perhaps it was because his body was not here. After a long time, that person calmed down the anger in his heart. So what if you escape into the 7th heaven? If you don't pass the heavenly tribulation, you will not become an immortal. You will not even be a loose immortal. You will only be a mortal. Even if I can't go into the 7th heaven, you will still die. A familiar dizziness quickly disappeared. Lu Chen felt that he could not muster any strength in his body. He lay on the ground motionlessly and could only look up at his surroundings. This was a dense forest. Occasionally, there were the sounds of birds and beasts. He did not know what kind of creatures were lurking around. Lu Chen did not even have the strength to release Little Beast and the others before he fainted. No way, mortal? Why would there be mortals in the 7th layer of heaven? The old man's eyes were filled with astonishment, as if he had lived for hundreds of years in vain. The feeling of seeing a mortal in the 7th heaven was probably as inconceivable as seeing a true immortal in the 6th heaven. No, it was even more inconceivable than that. After all, immortals could descend to the lower realm, so how could mortals reach the 7th layer of heaven? It doesn't make sense. How did this guy come to the 7th layer of heaven? Did he get in through the back door? The other middle-aged man was equally shocked. He felt as if his worldview had been completely destroyed. Wait a minute, he's at the 9 stars Savage King realm. I think the word savage is probably where the problem lies. Could it be that a savage cultivator can reach the seventh heaven without becoming an immortal? Hiss. But the king of savages is still a human king. How can a savage come to the seventh layer of heaven without becoming an immortal? That doesn't make sense. Many people expressed their opinions, but none of them could explain the situation in front of them. A mortal had come to the seventh heaven. Hey, he's awake. When Lu Chen opened his eyes again, he realized that he was surrounded by a group of gnomes and dwarfs. They were looking at him as if they were looking at a monster. Seeing such an anomaly, Lu Chen sat up in fright. You? Who are you? Friend, you're a human. We're immortals. The old man was still frowning. This guy looked quite shocked when he saw them. It would be unreasonable if he didn't know of his existence. Immortal? This is the seventh heaven? Damn, you know this is the seventh heaven? Hey, he knows this is the seventh heaven, the old man said to his companions. Lu Chen finally remembered what had happened previously. He had escaped from the heavenly tribulation. That door really did lead to the seventh heaven. The seventh heaven. He had really come to the seventh heaven. But the problem was, he didn't seem to have completed the heavenly tribulation. It couldn't be said that he hadn't completed the heavenly tribulation. After all, he had survived 3 rounds of the 12th level heavenly tribulation. That was to say, according to the rules of Tong Tian Tower, he had already completed the heavenly tribulation. However, that senior immortal wanted to kill Lu Chen and constantly reset the heavenly tribulation. If he didn't escape, the endless heavenly tribulation would definitely take his life. In other words, he had passed the heavenly tribulation, but he hadn't become an immortal. Damn it, what kind of situation is this? Lu Chen held his forehead. He really didn't expect this result even after all his calculations. But fortunately, he didn't die in the Tong Tian Tower. Recently, the Tong Tian Tower had become more and more dangerous. He had almost died in the Tong Tian Tower twice. Lu Chen withdrew his divine sense and looked at the people in front of him. There were a total of more than 10 people here. They looked very curious. They were completely different from Lu Chen's imagination. They had a sage-like demeanor and an otherworldly feeling. You saved me? Lu Chen asked tentatively. Not really. We saw you unconscious in the Immortal Trail Forest and looked like you were about to die. We didn't want to care, but we found out that you were the king of savages. We were really curious, so we brought you back and fed you some cheap pills. We didn't expect you to survive, the old man said. Lu Chen nodded. Even he was curious about his situation, let alone them. It was equivalent to his badge saving his life. Thank you seniors for saving me, Lu Chen said with his fists clasped. You've recovered quite well. Hey kid, are you really the king of savages? How did you come to the seventh heaven? Lu Chen didn't know how to answer. I don't know. I was teleported here when I passed the heavenly tribulation. This works too. Lu Chen nodded. Yeah, I also find it unbelievable. Another person said, sigh, I thought there was some trick. Looks like there's a problem with the heavenly tower. Kid, you came to the seventh heaven without completing the heavenly tribulation. How should I put it? You can only say that you're unlucky. You probably can't become an immortal at all. Lu Chen didn't know what to say for a moment. Yeah, although we're itinerant immortals, we're still immortals. Most of the people in the seventh heaven are itinerant immortals. Our status isn't that bad. But you're different. Without a doubt, you're the weakest one in the seventh heaven. Lu Chen scratched his head. That seemed to make sense. The weakest in the seventh heaven was an itinerant immortal. He, the king of savages, was definitely the weakest one among a bunch of immortals. There was no need to compare. Don't think that the seventh heaven is a paradise. Let me tell you, kid. The seventh heaven is still a place where the strong are respected. For someone like you, it's better if you didn't come, the old man said. Lu Chen didn't want to come here either, but he had no choice now. Why don't I challenge the tower when that immortal supremacy isn't here? That, seniors, can the seventh heaven descend to the lower realm? A mortal like you dares to descend to the lower realm? Besides, you're not qualified to descend to the lower realm. Lu Chen's heart instantly turned to ashes. It seemed like the path of repeating wouldn't work in the short term. Then how could he improve his strength? How could he survive in the seventh heaven? How could he go to the higher realm? A mortal coming to the territory of immortals. Kid, you're really pitiful. Forget it. Seeing that you're quite pitiful, I'll give you a teleportation talisman. Hurry up and go to the immortal realm of your human race. Although you're too weak, perhaps it's because you're so weak that it's your specialty. Maybe that immortal is willing to take you in as a servant or something and make a living. With that said, the old man handed a talisman to Lu Chen. Chapter 1193. People in the seventh layer of heaven did not use teleportation arrays, but directly used teleportation talismans. Lu Chen could already feel the style of the seventh layer of heaven. The dozen or so goblins dispersed in a hubbub. It seemed like they had lost interest in Lu Chen after knowing the answer. Indeed, the unobtainable was the best. Lu Chen tried to remove the badge, but found that it could not be removed as before, as if it was imprinted on his clothes. Looking at the King of Savages badge on his chest, Lu Chen shook his head helplessly. Good heavens, this is good enough. I haven't even become an immortal. Since he could not remove it, Lu Chen could only use spirit chi to cover his level. Speaking of which, those itinerant immortals seemed to have done the same. Forget it, forget it. Let's go to the human immortal realm to take a look and find out what this seventh layer of heaven is. With that, Lu Chen injected spirit chi into the teleportation talisman. In the blink of an eye, Lu Chen was already in another forest, but he could see a huge city not far away. That city was different from ordinary cities. Although it was in a plain, the city was surrounded by clouds and mist, like a fairyland. There were guards in front of the city, and the city's security was much stricter than before. When the guards saw Lu Chen wobbling over, they did not even ask and directly let him in. These guards were at least itinerant immortals, so they could definitely tell that Lu Chen was a human. As for whether they could tell Lu Chen's level, it was probably impossible. After all, if they could tell that such a weirdo had appeared, they would definitely interrogate him. Of course, it was also possible that they did not look carefully at all. As long as one was a human, they could enter. How could they have known that Lu Chen was a human monarch? In any case, Lu Chen successfully entered the human immortal realm. This city was the border city of the human immortal realm. Beyond here, the human immortal realm was all to the east. There were many people in the city, and most of them had reserved expressions, their faces as cold as frost, but they also had some immortal aura. From time to time, powerful mounts would fly past in the sky, and some people would directly fly on their swords. It seemed that this immortal city did not have any restrictions on mount. Lu Chen didn't expect there to be so many immortals in the human race. After all, Jiutian has existed for countless years. The lifespan of these people is far beyond imagination. Over time, many of them should have become immortals, Lu Chen thought. To inquire about information, Lu Chen naturally went to a place with a lot of people. However, the place with the most people here was not the trading area, but a notice board. The bulletin board was displaying some information. At first glance, Lu Chen thought it was the stock market. What is this? Lu Chen patiently examined it. Green information. Planet Huang Yuan, 200 coordinates. All coordinates have been claimed. Currently, 12 coordinates have been snatched. Green information. Blue planet, 170 coordinates. All coordinates have been claimed. Currently, 11 coordinates have been snatched. Yellow information. By N planet, 225 coordinates. 201 coordinates have been claimed. Remaining coordinates in 49 years. 59 coordinates have been snatched. This is... Lu Qin was stunned. What did the information above mean? What did these planets mean? The information kept scrolling up until a red message appeared. Red message, Planet Bez, 185 coordinates, 89 coordinates have been claimed. Countdown to claim the remaining coordinates, 1 year. 89 coordinates have been snatched away. Urgent notice. Those who are interested in protecting this planet, please head to the Immortal City to claim the remaining coordinate. Otherwise, if the time is exceeded, the unclaimed coordinates will no longer be protected. Lu Qin seemed to understand a little. A long time ago, he knew that every planet had its own universe coordinate. These coordinates could be said to be the most hidden data. The players from this planet would protect the coordinates of their original world from being leaked. Could the coordinates mentioned here be the universe coordinates of these planets? These coordinates were protected by the people from these planets, but for some reason these coordinates would be snatched by others. Some planets had a large number of people, so they could claim all the coordinates. However, some planets had a small number of people, such as Planet Bez. Only 89 people's coordinates had been claimed, and there were nearly 100 coordinates that had not been claimed. The coordinates of Planet Bez that had been claimed had all been snatched away. Once the deadline was over, the coordinates of this planet would be completely exposed. Although Lu Qin did not know who was snatching the coordinates, nor did he know what would happen to this planet after the coordinates were exposed, he guessed that it would not be a good thing. Then, what about Earth? Lu Qin's eyes widened. Unfortunately, there were too many planets here. Lu Qin did not know when Earth would be refreshed. At this moment, a woman walked in front of the bulletin board. This woman's appearance was really outstanding. Dressed in white, she looked like a fairy. No, she looked like an immortal. The woman inserted a card and said, "Search for Planet Qinyun." A set of data quickly appeared on the screen. Green information, Planet Qinyun, 220 coordinates. All coordinates have been claimed. Currently, 8 coordinates have been snatched. Search for the snatched coordinate. 8 pieces of information appeared on the screen. Those who snatched these 8 coordinates included humans and other races. Moreover, the information was accurate to each person's situation. Lu Qin did not see anything else, but at a glance, he could tell that these 8 people were all true immortals. Arrange an immortal battle and challenge true immortal Shi Yuan. The woman said. The challenge letter has been sent. After checking, the woman took out a card and turned to leave. Lu Qin hurried forward to stop her. This big sister, how dare you? Who is your big sister? The woman immediately shouted angrily. If you continue to talk nonsense, do you believe that I will kill you? Lu Qin shrunk his neck. This immortal was too fierce. However, Lu Qin was anxious to check the situation of Earth, so he did not care so much. This immortal, senior immortal. Lu Qin did not know how to address her, so he could only act on his own. The woman rolled her eyes at Lu Qin. She felt that this guy was very strange. However, it seemed that he did not want to fight with her. She said impatiently, "What is it? Oh, may I ask where you got that card? I also want to check the information of my world." The woman frowned. You don't even know this? You are a loose immortal, right? Lu Qin rolled his eyes. He seemed to have been looked down upon. Listening to the other party's tone, it seemed that loose immortals were not even worth mentioning in front of her. However, the problem was that the other party was not right. He was not even a loose immortal. Cough cough, this right? Lu Qin said guiltily. The woman snorted. Since you are a loose immortal, don't you know that you should be addressed as Immortal Master? Looking at Lu Qin's awkward face, the woman thought for a while and did not want to talk nonsense with this kind of person. Forget it, you loose immortals do not have this. Just treat it as me being nosy. After saying that, the woman inserted the card into the slot next to the bulletin board. She then looked at Lu Qin. check what you want. I don't have much time for you. Lu Chen nodded. Many thanks, Immortal. Immortal Master. Check Earth. Just as she said that, a red message jumped out. Chapter 1194. Red message, Earth, 20 coordinates, 19 coordinates have been claimed. Countdown to claim the remaining coordinates, 6 years. 19 coordinates have been snatched away. Emergency notice, please head to the Immortal City to claim the remaining coordinates as soon as possible. Otherwise, the unclaimed coordinates will no longer be protected after the time limit. When this message came out, Lu Chen's eyes almost popped out. Earth only has 20 coordinates. Others easily have 100 or 200 coordinates, but Earth only has 20. 19 coordinates have already been claimed. This number exceeded Lu Chen's expectations. This meant that since ancient times, 19 people had passed the tribulation and become immortals. Of course, they could also be itinerant immortals. But this was not the main point. The main point was that currently, 19 coordinates of Earth had been snatched. Only one was left. Earth was not completely exposed because the immortal region had protected the last coordinate. However, the last protection period was only 6 years. Bored, the woman glanced at the bulletin board and saw the line of words that couldn't be any redder. She sized up Lu Chen again, and a strange look flashed in her eyes. Your world can't even be considered a low-level martial arts world? Although Lu Chen had a lot on his mind, he still owed the woman a favor. He took a deep breath and nodded. How did Immortal Master know? The woman said coldly, worlds with 20 coordinates are the lowest level worlds. They are all trash worlds. It seems that your world is likely to be sacrificed to the Jiotian. After saying that, the woman took out a card and turned to leave. At this moment, Lu Chen, who had been deep in thought, suddenly woke up. Senior Immortal Master. The woman turned her head and wanted to flare up, but when she saw Lu Chen's worried face, she didn't say anything. What else do you want? How do I get the last coordinate? You want to claim the last coordinate? Lu Chen nodded and said in a deep voice, of course, there is one more coordinate that I will protect with my life. Do you know that in the last 3 months of the protection period, other people will pay attention to your world? At that time, there will be many people who will want to snatch the last coordinate? Lu Chen's eyes were like torches. As long as I'm here, I'll destroy anyone who tries to steal it. The woman sneered. A mere loose immortal dares to boast so shamelessly. Forget it, that's your business. If you want to get the last set of coordinates, you can go to the Immortal Bestowment Platform. Immortal Bestowment Platform? Where is it? Are you done yet? The woman couldn't hold it in any longer. This guy was completely clueless. Even if he was a newcomer to the 7th heaven, he would still be notified by the system. I really admire you. Forget it, I'm going to register for the challenge too. Come with me. The Immortal Bestowment Dais was not in this high-grade immortal city. The woman used a transfer talisman and brought Lu Chen to the peak of a mountain. There was no way to climb the mountain, but at the top of the mountain, there was a flight of stairs that led to the sky. The woman glanced at Lu Chen's shocked expression and knew that this guy definitely didn't know what it was. Just follow me, you won't fall down the stairs. Lu Chen thought that he would need to use the true spirit channeling. Didn't they say that even true immortals might not know how to use it? Why would going to the Immortal Bestowment Dais also require the true spirit channeling? Luckily, with the woman's words, he heaved a sigh of relief. The stairs were very long and they had to walk step by step. Bored on the way, the woman took the initiative to speak. Hey, did you just come up from the 6th heaven? Lu Chen nodded. It's very difficult for loose immortals to establish themselves in the 7th heaven. Have you not recognized a master yet? Recognized a master? Lu Chen was stunned for a moment. Didn't weapon spirits and battle pets recognize a master? Why would he recognize a master? With the protection of true immortals, you loose immortals have a chance to survive. Lu Chen shook his head. I should be able to survive on my own. The woman snorted. Other loose immortals who just came to the seventh heaven also thought so. Don't think that I want to take you in. The loose immortals under me are very powerful. Not just anyone can become my loose immortal. I saw that you knew that you were going to die, yet you were still willing to take the coordinates. You are more courageous than most people here. That's why I reminded you. Lu Chen cupped his fists. Thank you, Immortal Master. Although this woman gave off a cold feeling and helped him because Lu Chen kept pestering her, this time it was all thanks to her. Lu Chen was sincerely grateful to her. Oh right, Senior Immortal Master, why do other people insist on snatching the coordinates of other people's worlds? The woman was already somewhat used to this, Mr. Question. Jiutian needs to constantly expand its ranks with new blood. Every time we fight for a planet, everyone who has the coordinates of that planet can obtain large amounts of cultivation resources. Just now when you checked the information of your world, it was actually very dangerous. When others saw that there was only one coordinate in your world, there would definitely be people who would target you. The woman said. Didn't you check it too? Lu Chen asked. Me? How many people dare to target my clear cloud planet? You might not know, but there is another advantage to snatching the coordinates of other people's planet. If you lose in the immortal battle, and you have the coordinates of other worlds in your hands, you can first use the coordinates of other worlds to replace your own world's coordinates. Do you know how many coordinates I have? The woman looked at Lu Chen. 100? Lu Chen tried to guess. However, when guessing, one had to master the technique. Guess less to avoid the embarrassment of the other party not having enough coordinate. The woman's face instantly darkened. Do you really think that the coordinates are so easy to snatch? Other than trash planets like yours, even low-level martial arts worlds, for thousands of years there must be true immortals. To be able to become a true immortal, who doesn't have some tricks up their sleeves. Lu Chen was a little embarrassed. Sure enough, he guessed wrong. I see. Then, how many do you have? In addition to the coordinates I obtained myself, I have the coordinates of 4 other worlds. Therefore, it is not easy to snatch the coordinates of Clear Cloud Planet from my hands. What's more, I am not the strongest immortal of Clear Cloud Planet. Lu Chen nodded. In that case, this woman did indeed have some confidence. Then, Senior Immortal Master brought me here. Could it be that you want to snatch mine? The woman was originally calm. After all, she was a true immortal. However, this time, she really angered Lu Chen. A trash planet that doesn't even have low-level martial arts, would I be interested in it? However, if your world is filled with people as annoying as you, I feel that I can consider it. Lu Chen hurriedly said, Senior Immortal Master, ha ha, you must be joking. I said the wrong thing. Let's change the topic. In the end, the woman no longer wanted to talk to Lu Chen. The two of them walked up the Immortal Bestowment platform in silence. You can go and get the coordinates yourself. We will not meet again. After saying that, the woman disappeared in a flash. Lu Chen shook his head. Immortals were indeed difficult to get along with. It seemed that finding a girlfriend in the 7th heaven was indeed unrealistic. However, now that Lu Chen was anxious to get the coordinates, he did not care about immortals and continued to walk towards the depths of the Immortal Bestowment platform. Chapter 1195. The old man in front of him looked at Lu Chen in surprise. Go to the side and test your planet first. You can only get your own planet's coordinate. Lu Chen looked back and saw that in front of a teleportation array, there were more than a dozen people standing in line. Lu Chen also walked over and stood behind the last person in line. Lu Chen really wanted to find someone to talk to. He knew nothing about the 7th heaven. Unfortunately, these people were rather cold and did not speak to each other. They all had arrogant expressions and looked unapproachable. Why are the people here like this? I worked so hard to come to the seventh heaven, but I don't even have someone to talk to. How boring. Lu Chen muttered at the back. Suddenly, the person in front of him turned around and sized up Lu Chen. Lu Chen also sized up this person curiously. This man looked to be in his 30s. Of course, he could not tell his actual age. He was about 1.8 meters tall, half a head shorter than Lu Chen. He was slightly plump and had a neat mustache on his face. He was sizing up Lu Chen with a pair of small eyes. Among the immortal cultivators, someone who looked so wretched should be considered an anomaly. "Brother, are you also an itinerant immortal?" that person asked. Lu Chen shook his head. "Yes." That person looked surprised. Why was this guy shaking his head and saying yes at the same time? Was that yes or no? Perhaps it was better to rely on what he said. After all, he did not look like a true immortal. "You are also an itinerant immortal?" Lu Chen asked. "Yes. Sai, I originally had the ability to become a true immortal. Unfortunately, I encountered a level 6 heavenly tribulation, Sai." Level 6 heavenly tribulation? Lu Chen's eyes widened. It was really infuriating to compare oneself to others. This guy encountered a level 6 heavenly tribulation and still sighed here. He had passed 3 level 12 heavenly tribulations and was still the king of savages. "Looks like your world has no one to protect it." That fatty sighed. "Otherwise, it would not be up to us itinerant immortals to protect the coordinates." Lu Chen nodded. In this regard, he should be in a similar situation as this chubby brother. However, loose immortals were easier to talk to. Those true immortals were all extremely arrogant. "Brother Fatty, how many coordinates are left in your world?" Lu Chen asked. Fatty looked at Lu Chen in surprise. Seeing the other party's innocent face, he thought for a moment. This guy might be a newbie, after all. He didn't care much about the coordinate. "Friend, I think you didn't mean it. However, I have to remind you that in the seventh heaven, don't casually ask others about the coordinate. It will make others think that you have the intention to compete for the coordinate." Lu Chen suddenly realized and hurriedly said, "Sorry, I forgot about that." Fatty nodded. "You should be new to the seventh heaven, right? You'll know in the future." However, perhaps because they were in the same boat, little Fatty sighed and glanced at Lu Chen. "Sigh, I don't have many coordinates left in my world. Otherwise, why would I, an itinerant immortal, come here? Didn't you see that the people in front of me are all true immortals and immortal lords? This time, I came here because my immortal master promised to help me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have the confidence to come here." "Hey friend, you should be in the same situation, right?" Lu Chen shook his head and said, "I don't have an immortal master, and I don't intend to recognize one." "You don't have an immortal master?" Little Peng's eyes widened. Then if you take the coordinates, isn't it the same as giving them away for free?" Lu Chen took a deep breath. Earth's last coordinates, once it fell into the hands of others, Earth would be exposed. No, according to what the fairy said, not only would it be exposed, it would also be sacrificed to the Jiutian. The original home planet of the origin god should have such a fate. No, I definitely won't let others snatch the coordinates from me. Lu Chen's eyes revealed an incomparably resolute expression. Earth was his hometown. Lu Yi, his friends, his hometown, his ancestors, his everything was there. However, Lu Chen's resolute expression, in Fatty's eyes, turned into helplessness. He shook his head. "Brother, Sai, I don't know what to say either. Anyway, I wish you good luck." Lu Chen nodded. "Oh right, Fatty, you mentioned the level 6 heavenly tribulation before. If a true immortal had only passed, for example, level 4 or level 5 heavenly tribulation, would their strength be inferior to yours?" Little Fatty looked at Lu Chen in astonishment. "Brother, why would you have such an idea?" A true immortal's strength is definitely stronger than an itinerant immortal's. First of all, a true immortal's heavenly tribulation is no lower than level 5. And you have to know that a true immortal who has passed level 5 heavenly tribulation may not necessarily only pass level 5 heavenly tribulation. Secondly, after going through a complete heavenly tribulation, a true immortal's physique will be greatly improved. At the same level of heavenly tribulation, a true immortal's strength will increase through the heavenly tribulation alone, exceeding the upper limit of an itinerant immortal of the same level. So, what you said just now is completely wrong. And the biggest difference between a true immortal and an itinerant immortal is the difference in upper limit. Only when you become a true immortal can you truly open the immortal path. As for an itinerant immortal, that's already the limit. No matter how strong you are, your upper limit is there. Naturally, you can't set foot on the immortal path. In the early stages, some true immortal strength may not be as strong as an itinerant immortal, but after a little time, true immortals will definitely be stronger than itinerant immortals. This is an indisputable fact. Lu Chen frowned. No wonder true immortals were so cold. True immortals and itinerant immortals both had the word immortal in their names, but they were not the same species at all. Then, Fatty, how do true immortals compare their strength? That's hard to say. Fatty stroked his mustache. Strength is divided into two parts: actual combat ability and potential. Actual combat ability depends on the battle results of the immortal war. Potential depends on the level of the heavenly tribulation. Moreover, it also depends on each other's attributes, occupations, techniques, and restraint. All these have to be analyzed comprehensively. Lu Chen nodded. He naturally understood some of the theories of actual combat comparison and automatically skipped them. But the most important information he got from Fatty was: true immortals could open the immortal path and continuously improve, but itinerant immortals could not. Some powerful itinerant immortals could defeat weaker true immortals for a certain period of time, but only for a short period of time. Once the true immortals grew up, itinerant immortals could only be abused. The current strength of true immortals and itinerant immortals could be seen from the battle results of the immortal war. Thank you, Fatty. Lu Chen cupped his fists and said, Right, Fatty, I still don't know your name. It's rare to meet someone I can talk to in the 7th layer of heaven. Maybe we will have a chance to meet again in the future. Fatty smiled slightly. I'm Yuanxing. Little brother, how should I address you? Solipsistic. Solipsistic? This. Brother, it's not that I want to humiliate you, but I'm afraid you should change your name. Below the 6th layer of heaven, I believe you have the capital to be arrogant. But at the 7th layer of heaven, I'm afraid your name alone will bring you a lot of trouble. Fatty said with concern. Lu Chen smiled slightly. I won't change it. I'll take this name. While the two were chatting, it was Fatty's turn to take the test. After Fatty's result came out, he bid farewell to Lu Chen. He took out a token and handed it to Lu Chen. Brother Du Kuang, it's fate that we met. I'm Yuanxing. Currently, I belong to the 10,000 Mystic Immortal Master's residence. My Immortal Master is a forthright person with 3,000 followers. If you want to join him one day, you can bring this token to me. Although Lu Chen was not willing to accept it as his master, he did not want to refuse the other party's good intentions. He kept the token and said, Thank you, Brother Yuanxing. Chapter 1196. After Lu Chen finished the test, he returned to the location where he received his coordinates and handed the results to the old man. The old man did not even look at Lu Chen. He placed the card into the machine beside him to identify it. Then, a scroll flew out from the bookshelf. The old man did not even look back. He directly grabbed the scroll and placed it beside the table. He lowered his head and recorded something. Celestial title. Lu Chen was stunned for a moment. Celestial title. What's your name? The old man looked at Lu Chen impatiently. Oh, solipsistic. Solipsistic? Humph, you dare to use this celestial title. You are indeed arrogant. The old man said to himself as he recorded Lu Chen's information. Level. Lu Chen blinked. Was this the second question? He had not thought of how to answer. Is it something I casually reported? Hey, what's wrong with you? Is this something you can report casually? I'm just too lazy to check. If the information is wrong, causing others to be unable to challenge you, you will not have any immortal battle results in the future. You will also not be able to register your planet's coordinates. If anything happens to your world, it's your own problem. Lu Chen took a deep breath. It seemed like this was very important. He could not just make things up. After holding it in for a while, Lu Chen said, "Peak of the King of Savages' realm." The old man put down the brush and looked like he had had enough. He put his hands on his waist and stared at Lu Chen. "Friend, did you not go through the tribulation?" I did." Lu Chen stammered. "That's it. You went through the tribulation. You came to the 7th layer of heaven. You are standing in front of me. In the end, you are telling me that you are the King of Savages. What the hell is a wild King of Savages? I don't care. You are telling me that you are at the peak of the King of Savages' realm? Are you out of your mind? Senior, I am really at the peak of the King of Savages' realm. I really have to hand it to you. After so many years, you are the first person who can make me use my immortal chi. The peak of the King of Savages? The old man was like a steam engine now. His entire body was emitting divine energy. Really, why am I angry? Is it worth it? Alright, you're the King of Savages. This information is yours anyway. If anything happens in the future, it's your problem. You can't blame me. The old man seemed to have thought it through. He picked up the brush again to record the information. Heavenly tribulation level. Cough cough. Lu Chen choked for a long time. The other party seemed to be on the verge of exploding with anger. If he continued speaking, he wouldn't directly attack, right? Heavenly tribulation level. Don't tell me you're a level 9 heavenly tribulation. The old man was so angry that his mouth was dry. He picked up the teacup beside him and took a big gulp. It was better to drink some water to calm down. Lu Chen took a deep breath and let out a long sigh. There was no other way. This thing had to be registered. If he didn't tell the truth, it might have a great impact. It might even be related to the safety of Earth. Level 12 Heavenly Tribulation. With a puff, the old man spat out all the water in his mouth. Fortunately, Lu Chen activated a spiritual energy shield and blocked it. At this moment, the old man's face was about to turn green with anger. As he was angry, he actually laughed. Ha 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 ha, I am about to die from anger. Level 12 Heavenly Tribulation? I think level 12 is too low. Why don't you say level 100? Lu Chen said very seriously. I think there's no level 100, or I might have died in the Tower of Babel. The old man's hands were trembling. This guy was actually answering him seriously. By the way, old man, I've experienced 3 heavenly tribulations. Should I also write this information? 2 of them were dual elemental heavenly tribulations. Lu Chen suddenly thought of this. If the information is inaccurate, it will affect the safety of my world, right? As the person who received the last coordinates of Earth, Lu Chen couldn't let the information be wrong. However, the old man didn't respond for a long time. He just sat there, powerless. He didn't look too good. Old man, what's wrong? Lu Chen asked hurriedly. The old man said weakly, King of Savages, level 12 heavenly tribulations, 3 times. 2 of them were dual elemental heavenly tribulations. Friend, are you here to cause trouble? Lu Chen said hurriedly, his face full of anxiety. Senior, I'm definitely not here to cause trouble. This is very important to me, so I don't dare to hide anything. If you're not here to cause trouble, then why are you joking with me? The old man suddenly stood up and glared at Lu Chen. Tell me, has there ever been a level 12 heavenly tribulation since ancient times? Fine, even if there is, has anyone experienced 3 heavenly tribulations? Fine, even if there is. Then has anyone experienced 3 heavenly tribulations and ended up as some king of savages? You tell me. Lu Chen realized that the old man was about to explode. He said softly, I really don't know about that. I've only been in Jiutian for more than 10 years. How would I know about the past? The old man felt all the blood in his body flow backward. Suddenly, he spat out a mouthful of blood. More than 10 years. 7 heavens in more than 10 years. Kid, if I hadn't become an itinerant immortal, I would have torn you apart 108 times in the past. The old man wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. Fine, you want to play with me? I'll play with you to the end. With that, the old man turned around and walked to a wooden box behind him. He injected spiritual energy into it and opened it. There was a stone that looked like a shadow stone in the box. Tai possession. The old man immediately released a shocking amount of spiritual energy. It seemed that activating the stone required a large amount of spiritual energy. The old man turned around and said to Lu Chen, You, come in. Lu Chen blinked and entered the counter. Inject spiritual energy. Lu Chen did as he was told. Soon, Lu Chen's information popped up. Solipsistic, human race, current level, peak 9-star savage king realm, heavenly tribulation level, 4 tribulations, first level, 12th level fire super heavenly tribulation, successfully transcended. Second level, 12th level ice and lightning super heavenly tribulation, successfully transcended. Third level, 12th level fire and lightning super heavenly tribulation, successfully transcended. Fourth level, 12th level ice, fire, wind, lightning, and earth super heavenly tribulation, data unknown. Lu Chen hurriedly said, Senior, I actually didn't transcend the 4th heavenly tribulation. I ran away. I didn't know about this. I'm sorry. When Lu Chen turned around, the old man's eyes were wide open and his mouth was wide open. He looked shocked and petrified on the spot. What this guy said was all true. Senior, Lu Chen said anxiously. The old man only came back to his senses when the message disappeared. I'm fine. The old man returned to his seat in a daze. Get out. Lu Chen went to the counter and obediently filled in the information. The old man drank several cups of tea in a row before he recovered. The way he looked at Lu Chen changed. His gaze fell on Lu Chen's badge. Sir, can you disperse the spiritual energy fog? Lu Chen raised his hand and the badge appeared normal. 9-star savage king realm. The old man nodded. Sir, you still have to hide your level in the future. Otherwise, I'm afraid it will cause a commotion in the 7th heaven. Thank you for your reminder, Senior. Lu Chen cupped his fist. The old man sighed. I offended you just now. Please forgive me. Senior, don't take it to heart. I just want to get the coordinates as soon as possible. Lu Chen said in a deep voice. Chapter 1197. The old man handed the scroll to Lu Chen, not forgetting to instruct Lu Chen, I've seen Earth's situation. This is the last coordinate, Lu Chen nodded. That's why I must get it. The old man nodded slightly, as if he wanted to say something. Senior, is there anything else you need to instruct me? Lu Chen asked. Sir, I am really curious. Why did you pass 3 heavenly tribulations but not become an immortal? The old man voiced his doubts. Lu Chen shrugged. Maybe there's a problem with the heaven-reaching tower. Lu Chen did not intend to tell the truth. After all, he had met this person by chance. Then, Sir's attributes. The seventh heaven seems to be unable to open the attributes panel. Lu Chen did not lie this time. That's natural. After all, the seventh heaven does not quantify attribute. The old man nodded and said, generally speaking, heavenly tribulations are the great tribulation of immortal cultivation, but at the same time, it also builds the body. Although Sir has not become an immortal, you have successfully passed 3 heavenly tribulations. I'm really curious about Sir's physique. Has some unknown change happened? I'm not sure now. Lu Chen shook his head and said, however, you said that after the heavenly tribulations, your strength increased greatly, but I don't think I felt it. That's the reward for becoming an immortal. True immortals and loose immortals get it. You didn't become an immortal, so naturally, you don't get this reward, the old man said. And without becoming an immortal, Sir's path to immortality cannot be opened. However, the heavenly tribulations increase the upper limit of one's strength at the same time. If Sir is doubtful, you might as well continue to increase your strength on the basis of being a 9-star human king. Lu Chen frowned. Continue to increase his strength? This was not something that could be figured out in a short period of time. It seemed that he had to wait until his strength increased in the future. Sir, Earth still has 6 years of protection, but after 6 years, many people will definitely know that only the last coordinate of Earth has not been exposed, and Sir's level and immortal mansion will be made public. They will be able to find Sir's information by searching, the old man said. At that time, I'm afraid that Sir will face many challenges. Lu Chen nodded. I know. Senior, if there's nothing else, I'll take my leave. Sir. Take care, mister. The old man stood up to send him off. Watching Lu Chen carefully descend the stairway, the old man's gaze followed him closely. Since ancient times, there has never been anyone who has passed through the 12th level of heavenly tribulation 3 times. Even if he hasn't become an immortal, his potential is definitely not worse than that of a 9 tribulation true immortal. For a mortal to enter the immortal realm, I'm afraid this is a true heaven-defying person. Lu Chen finally managed to descend so many steps, only to discover that he was surrounded by a vast mountain range. From time to time, there would be people teleporting in and out of the mountain peak. He was the only one standing there in a daze. Lu Chen shook his head. The 7th layer of heaven was too advanced, and since he did not have a teleportation talisman, he could only walk down the mountain. It's not easy to come to the 7th heaven, but in the end I still have to be a savage, Lu Chen complained as he went down the mountain. When he was halfway down the mountain, Lu Chen suddenly realized that someone was chasing after him. He stopped and looked at the person in surprise. There were more than 10 people, and they were still shouting at him as they ran, "Solipsistic, please wait." Not long after, these people arrived in front of Lu Chen. One of the old men cupped his fists and said to Lu Chen, "Brother Du Kuang, we are Earth's loose immortals." Lu Chen's eyes widened. "You are from Earth?" "Yes. Brother Du Kuang, after we knew that you had challenged the 6th layer of Heaven Tong Tian Tower, we expected that you would come here to collect the coordinates of Earth soon, so we specially waited here." Lu Chen frowned. Which country is the 2nd strongest in terms of overall national strength on Earth? America. America used to be number 1, but 20 years ago, Huaxia surpassed America. Oh, you even know such a tricky question. It should be Earth. Lu Chen relaxed his vigilance. Brother Du Kuang, you still don't believe us? Do you know about Earth's Guide project? Lu Chen's eyes widened. Of course he knew about this project. If not for this project, Earth's players would still be stuck at the 2nd layer of heaven. Then it was us who planned it. It's you guys. Yes. It's not convenient to talk here. Come with us. The old man looked around vigilantly and said softly, "Okay." The old man took out a teleportation talisman and handed it to Lu Chen. The group quickly disappeared. In the blink of an eye, Lu Chun and the others arrived in front of a cave in the wilderness. There was a plaque on the cave with the words, 9-Star Paradise, written on it. Lu Chun followed the group into the cave. Brother Du Quang, this is our base in the 7th layer of heaven. This cave is a bit shabby, and cannot be compared to other true immortals' paradise. Please don't take offense. Lu Chun frowned. When did you guys come to Jiotian? A long time ago. Let's talk about this inside. What Lu Chun did not expect was that such a shabby cave would be filled with spiritual energy. It was comparable to a low-level heaven domain's spiritual vein. Inside the 9-Star Paradise, light shone in. The light was comfortable and the temperature was just right. There were stone beds and stone tables inside. There was also a natural spring in the cave. Brother Du Quang, please take a seat. The old man took out a teapot and poured tea for Lu Chun. His movements were meticulous. This tea, does it add spiritual energy? Haha, it doesn't add spiritual energy. However, it can make one feel refreshed. The old man smiled. Lu Chun took a sip. It was indeed sweet. However, since it could not add spiritual energy, Lu Chun did not have much interest. He went straight to the point. Now that we have returned to the 9-Star Paradise, let's talk about your situation. Everyone looked at each other. It seemed that they would let the old man do the talking. It's a long story. If you want to talk about it, let's start with the 9-Star Paradise. The old man said. The 9-Star Paradise was bought by a dozen loose immortals over the years. Therefore, it was not on the same level as a true immortal's paradise. However, these loose immortals also needed a fixed place to cultivate. They had no choice but to buy this place. It can be said that the 9-Star Paradise is the only immortal abode for earthlings in Jiotian. Lu Chun listened carefully. 50 years ago, Jiotian was opened to earth in another form. The old man suddenly said, it has only been open for a dozen years. In these dozen years, millions of people have entered Jiotian. Another form? What is it? Lu Chun asked. Transmission Array. A group of the most outstanding people, including their physical fitness, mental fitness, age and other suitable people from all over the world, were sent to Jiotian. We all went through a strict selection process before we were qualified to enter Jiotian. This. Lu Chen's eyes widened. I haven't heard any news about this. It's normal, because the Jiotian gave us an order. Once the news is leaked, the person who leaked the news, along with his or her family, will be obliterated immediately. The Jiotian knows everything. You should know this very well. Even if there were a few people who leaked the news, they would definitely be dead. Lu Chun frowned. It turned out that the Jiotian had opened once a long time ago. Then it was very likely that his parents were chosen at that time. Chapter 1198. Although Lu Chun had many questions in his heart, he did not ask them at this time. This was because every piece of information that the old man said was something that Lu Chun wanted to know. The opening of the Jiotian at that time was completely different from the opening of the Jiotian server. The old man continued, from the beginning, we were told that the Jiotian was not just a game. This was the real cultivation of immortality. At the same time, we were also told that the coordinates of Earth had entered the list of planets that had been requisitioned. In other words, if we could not enter the 7th heaven in these 50 years, then Earth would be sacrificed to the Jiotian. The reason why the Jiotian chose us was to give us a chance to protect Earth. Perhaps the Jiotian felt that the time given to Earth was too short, so we received a lot of support, such as the Spirit Extraction Scroll, Immortal Pills, and so on. Our strength improved by leaps and bounds in a short period of time. However, our foundation was too weak, and the time was too short. Even with the support of the first batch of players, none of us reached the peak of the human king in 50 years. Another middle-aged man said, At that time, we saw that Earth was officially opened to the Jyotian server. Your growth rate was too slow, and we knew that if we did not transcend the tribulation, Earth's coordinates would be completely exposed. Therefore, we gathered all the resources in the hands of the players on Earth and concentrated them in the hands of 20 people. We knew that we could not transcend the tribulation, but we forcibly transcended the tribulation. Forcibly transcended the tribulation? Lu Chen asked in surprise. Yes. We only raised our spiritual power to the peak of the human king, but our 3 dimensions were far from enough, so we took the tribulation transcendence pill and forcibly transcended the tribulation. In the end, the result was still considered fortunate. We entered the 7th heaven as individual immortals. Lu Chen frowned. He seemed to have thought of something and was a little emotional. So you received 19 coordinates. But, didn't you say that 20 people were going to transcend the tribulation? What about the other person? There was another person. He was a legend, the strongest human on Earth. When he transcended the tribulation, he did not take the tribulation transcendence pill. He became a true immortal. Who was it? Lu Chen asked. Your father, Immortal Master Lu Yuan. Lu Chen felt as if he had been electrocuted. His father was the strongest on Earth. A true immortal. After a long time, Lu Chen said faintly, Where is he now? What about my mother? Did she transcend the tribulation with you, or is she still in the 6th heaven? We don't know much about your mother. You might have to ask your father yourself. As for Immortal Master Lu Yuan, he descended to the lower realm without permission, and is currently suffering boundless heavenly punishment. Nothing. Exhausted. Heavens. Punish. Lu Chen repeated each word. I've told you before that we can't reveal the fact that we've entered the Jyotian, but your father skirted the line. He didn't tell you about the Jyotian, but he used all the resources at his disposal and even exchanged his true immortal strength for a supreme treasure to change your constitution. Lu Chen was even more shocked. Gnolls? Monsters? Dual heavenly might? Could it be that all of this was left to him by his father? Lu Chen's eyes were red. This was a completely different person from the man who had abandoned him and his sister. His father had left without saying goodbye because he couldn't say anything, but he had used everything in exchange for an uncertain possibility. What kind of courage did he have to do this? You said that he exchanged his true immortal strength for a supreme treasure, and that he was being punished by the heavens? That's right, your father is only immortal now, but the Jyotian has a corresponding way to punish your father. In the 9 heavens domain, there's a heaven-piercing prison that can make people immortal, but at the same time, they'll suffer endless punishment. Lu Chen couldn't hold back his tears. The man he had always hated had done so much for him and for Earth. The most painful thing was that no one understood what he had done. He knew that his son and daughter would definitely hate him. Lu Chen. The old man actually called Lu Chen by his real name. You just asked why we only received 19 coordinates when 20 of us came to the 7th heaven? The old man's smile had a trace of bitterness. Another person said, before Immortal Master Lu Yuan left, he said that our strength was not enough to protect Earth. This last coordinate, which is related to the safety of the entire Earth, was to be left to his son. He said that he believed that one day, you would become the strongest person. You would become the person who would break this heartless world. You would become the person who would save the world from fire and water. He believed that you could do it. Lu Chen, the guide plan was also created by your father. The old man continued, if you didn't come to the 7th heaven in the stipulated time, Earth would be sacrificed. However, if the people there had a certain level of self-protection, they wouldn't be like some sacrificial planets, where they would be at the mercy of others. It can be said that the guide plan is another backup plan. Lu Chen vaguely remembered that when the guide first appeared, he had said, Earth doesn't have much time left. Now that he thought about it, the current situation was indeed very urgent. Dad! Lu Chen lowered his head. After being silent for a long time, he couldn't help but cry bitterly. When the others saw this, they silently left. At this time, what Lu Chen needed was to be alone for a while. In the evening, Lu Chen sat alone outside the cave, looking at the bright moon hanging high in the sky, lost in thought. The old man walked out and sat beside him. Lu Chen, do you still hate your father? Lu Chen shook his head. Actually, I never hated him and my mother. In my memory, they loved me and my sister very much. It's just that those memories are too few. I can't remember clearly. I once thought that maybe they had a reason to leave. The old man lowered his head and smiled slightly. You are indeed different from ordinary people. Elder, how should I address you? Lu Chen turned to look at the old man. Oh, my immortal name is Li Shang. Elder Li Shang, even if there are 19 people other than my father, I only saw 10 before. What about the other 9? They died in the immortal war. Even if it's us, we can't cultivate now, the old man said calmly. Lu Chen was silent for a moment. During the day, he only cared about his own matters and neglected the fact that these people who forced themselves to pass the tribulation were also protecting Earth with the determination to die. Is the guide plan going well? It's going well, but reaching the 5th layer of heaven is the limit. Moreover, the time given to them is too short. Now we have 6 years. In 6 years, the new generation of Earth can't grow up. Without the supportive resources, it's impossible to reach the 7th layer of heaven without a few hundred years. Of course, you are an exception. Lu Chen nodded. Indeed, Xiaoyi was only 3 years old now. Even if everything went well, he didn't know how long it would take for him to grow up in the Jiutian. The guide plan is actually to give the people of Earth a glimmer of hope even if they are sacrificed. Lu Chen thought of the Origin God token. Didn't the Origin God give the Aborigines a glimmer of hope? This might be the limit of what they could do. Lu Chen, what do you plan to do next? Are you an immortal or a true immortal? Neither. Lu Chen said directly. None of them? Yes. Lu Chen nodded. But regardless of whether I'm an immortal or not, since I'm here, I will change the rules here. These are the rules of the Jiutian, not mine. Lu Chen suddenly stood up, his gaze piercing the sky. Heaven's prison. I will definitely go. Chapter 1199. There were only 6 years left before Earth's final protection period. Lu Chen remembered that the old man on the immortal bestowment platform said that after becoming an immortal, there would be a considerable increase in strength. He did not complete the tribulation, so he lost this opportunity to improve. However, the old man seemed to be very interested in his potential. In other words, maybe he did gain something after passing 3 12th level tribulations. The 7th heaven no longer quantified attributes, and even the personal panel disappeared. Lu Chen could only find the gap through immortal battles or exchanging pointers. Senior Li Shang, may I ask, are there any restrictions on the 7th heaven war soul? Li Shang smiled. He was very clear about Lu Chen's situation. He relied on himself all the way. His strength was strong, but his theory was a mess. What's more, he was the first person to come to the 7th heaven after the Jiutian server officially opened on Earth. Naturally, he did not know the situation of the 7th heaven. He patiently explained, the 7th heaven war soul will no longer have the ability to combine soul and body. Isn't that a loss? Because the one who really set foot on the path of immortality is the body, the war soul's attributes will no longer be a restriction on the body's improvement. Li Shang said. Isn't this a big loss? No, Lu Chen, listen to me first. Li Shang said, the war soul's attributes now have 2 uses. One is as a storage, you can extract the attributes to yourself, and after extraction, the war soul's attributes will be reduced accordingly. In addition, the war soul can act independently. As long as you inject a little soul, your war soul will become your most loyal subordinate. Lu Chen's eyes widened. The war soul had this kind of use? Looking at Lu Chen's shocked expression, Li Shang laughed. The war soul can do a lot of things. Haven't you encountered many war souls before? In fact, these are war souls with part of the immortal's body's abilities. According to the amount of soul's infusion and the amount of attributes left, the war soul's abilities also have a big difference. The strength of the seventh heaven mainly depends on cultivation, and the progress of cultivation is often slower. Therefore, most people will extract a large part of the war soul's attributes, leaving a small part to help themselves with some trivial matters. If combined with some special items, the war soul's magical uses can be said to be countless. Speaking of which, Lu Chen remembered that he had encountered many war spirits in the past. The Desolate God, Ice God, and Nuwa should also be war souls. Considering their use in the lower realm, it seemed that the separation of war souls could not be considered as weakening one's strength. Oh, by the way, if there's anything useful on war soul, you have to extract it as soon as possible. Lu Chen frowned and said, but there are some things that don't have a corresponding scroll, such as my mental cultivation method. Li Shang was not surprised. This problem of yours is something that everyone who has just entered the seventh layer of heaven will encounter. In the past, there was almost no body cultivation method, and cultivators relied on extracting it to enhance their body's attribute. But at the seventh heaven, extraction is no longer the most important method. Therefore, when becoming an immortal, the Jiutian will not only greatly increase the strength of the person undergoing the tribulation, but also directly transform the mental cultivation method and part of the cultivation method into a real cultivation method. Lu Chen sucked in a breath of air. Damn, this is not a small loss for me. Li Shang thought for a moment and said, your situation is a bit special, I have never heard of it, but there is no need to worry. Senior Li Shang, is there any way to remedy this? There is. Li Shang gave Lu Chen an answer that made him feel at ease. What way? The seventh heaven does not have a specific type of mental cultivation method treasure, but spirit tablets. If you collect enough spirit tablets, you can transfer the items on the war soul to yourself, whether it is mental cultivation method, or equipment. Of course, according to the level, the number of spirit tablets required for each item is also different. Lu Chen asked, where do you get these spirit tablets from? You can exchange for immortal war achievements, obtain immortal fate, true immortal rewards, exchange of treasures, and so on. In fact, this is a relatively common treasure, and there are still many ways to obtain it. However, Lu Chen still frowned. In his current situation, it might be too early for him to participate in the immortal war. After all, he still had the last coordinates of Earth, so he could not joke about it. As for the Immortal Academy, that was something that could only be encountered and not sought. True immortal rewards, he did not plan to recognize it as its master. The only feasible way was to exchange treasures, but he did not have any treasures on him to exchange. Could it be that he should exchange the little beast? He did not know if anyone wanted it. Lu Chen was letting his imagination run wild when he saw Li Shang snickering there. Lu Chen suddenly felt that something was wrong. Senior Li Shang, why are you snickering here? How am I snickering? Li Shang was caught off guard by Lu Chen's words. I am smiling with deep meaning. Oh, then why are you smiling with deep meaning? Li Shang's face darkened. This kid really did not look like an immortal. Did you forget, we have been here for a few years, we also know that our strength is limited, so we have been living frugally. In addition to the previous large amount of resources, we have also accumulated a lot of spirit tablets. Lu Chen opened his eyes wide. He suddenly saw hope. Thank you, Senior Li Shang. I have not said that I am going to give it to you. Li Shang shook his head. This kid sometimes was silly, but sometimes he was even more shrewd than a monkey. Well, I will not keep you in suspense. Immortal Master Lu Yuan has already left some for you, plus us. There is a total of 1,100 pieces. In any case, we already have no use for them, so I am definitely going to give them to you. 1,100 pieces. Lu Chen was pleasantly surprised. This time he could transfer all the divine devil set that was not extracted from the war soul. Li Shang smiled. 1,100 pieces of spirit tablets. This can also be considered a huge amount of wealth. How about it? We old things still have some use. Haha, here, these spirit tablets should be able to exchange for a lot of things. Lu Chen took a neat stack of spirit tablets. These spirit tablets were like dragon scales. Each piece was the size of a palm, but as thin as a cicada's wing. More than 1,000 pieces stacked together did not have much thickness. Your War Soul's property interface can still be used, so first summon the War Soul, insert the scales into the item that needs to be embodied, then you can transfer it. Li Shang instructed Lu Chen. Now the War Soul could be summoned, and did not rely on soul-body fusion to awaken the War Soul. Lu Chen tried to summon the War Soul. In front of him, there appeared a guy that looked exactly like him. This was his War Soul? Lu Chen looked at the War Soul's property interface. Everything was normal. First extract the Divine Devil Mixed Yuan Cultivation Method. Cultivation method is the foundation of cultivation. It must be extracted first. Insert a piece of spirit tablet. No reaction, 2 pieces. No reaction, 3 pieces, still no reaction. Lu Chen suddenly felt like he was throwing money. Inserting spirit tablets one by one was like throwing $100 bill after another. 700 pieces. Lu Chen was about to cry with a sad face. He was still inserting spirit tablets. Senior Li Shang, is 1,100 pieces really a huge amount of wealth? Li Shang's face was ashen. That, Lu Chen, what exactly are you extracting? 700 pieces and you still haven't extracted it? Generally, immortal techniques only need 200 to 300 pieces to extract it. 900 pieces. Lu Chen almost suspected that his war soul was broken. Lu Yuan was a legend true immortal, plus Li Shang and a dozen others. They also had the support of large amounts of resources from the Jiutian. Only then could they save up 1,100 pieces of spirit tablet. In the blink of an eye, Lu Chen had already inserted 980 pieces, and the Divine Devil Mixed Yuan Cultivation Method still could not extract it. Chapter 1200. Lu Chen never thought that there would be a day when he would be such a prodigal. Until he smashed 1,000 pieces of spirit tablets. Finally, the Divine and Devil Origin Cultivation method became usable. Lu Chen let out a long sigh of relief. In any case, he managed to get it out. Although mentioning a mental cultivation method almost made him bankrupt, it was better than not mentioning it at all. You got it. Yes, I used a whole 1,000 pieces. Lu Chen was relieved. 1,000 pieces. Li Shang was in a trance. Is it the Divine and Devil set? Mental cultivation method. Lu Chen said, by the way, Senior Li Shang, I used to be able to use those techniques. Why do I have to extract them now? Before, you could use the Battle Soul Fusion. Even if you didn't use the Battle Soul Fusion, the Battle Soul's ability was connected to yours, but now you are completely separated from the Battle Soul. Naturally you have to bring it up. Lu Chen nodded. It seems that the most fundamental reason was because the Battle Soul was independent. The Divine and Devil Origin Cultivation method required 1,000 pieces of spirit tablets. Then he still had several Divine and Devil sets to transfer. It seems that he still needed a large number of spirit tablets. Lu Chen, we still have some extraction scrolls here. Do you want to extract the Battle Soul's attributes? Li Shang asked. Lu Chen thought for a moment, shook his head and said, I have a lot of techniques with the battle soul, I can't extract them all at once, and my battle soul's strength is not weak, I have to find more spirit tablets, sometimes I have to rely on him. Lu Chen thought for a moment, no matter what, he could now use the divine and devil origin cultivation method, so the next most important thing was to see if his so-called potential had increased during the heavenly tribulation. Senior Li Shang, can I practice here? Of course. Li Shang said straightforwardly, no matter how shabby it is still our home. You are also the son of immortal master Lu Yuan, speaking of which, you should be the real owner of this 9-star paradise. Lu Chen smiled. I am not the owner, what Senior Li Shang said is right, this place will be the home of Earth's people in the future. There was a special cultivation room in the 9-star heavenly abode. There was a spirit gathering array in the cultivation room, which made the spirit chi more abundant than the other areas in the 9-star heavenly abode. Lu Chen entered a state of cultivation. Previously, Lu Chen's base spiritual energy value was 500, and with the addition of the 10 wings and the all things bloodline, the final value was 7 million. Logically speaking, these attributes had already reached the peak of a 9-star human king. Unless one became a deity, they could not increase any further. As long as his spiritual power continued to increase, it meant that although Lu Chen had yet to become an immortal, his path of cultivation was still open. Unfortunately, the 7th heaven did not quantify attribute. Lu Chen could not open his personal interface and could only rely on his own perception. Everyone here was from Earth. Lu Chen directly entered the spirit aura subtlety and the anatta state, carefully sensing the changes in his spirit core. Strands of spirit energy seeped into his skin from the surroundings and entered his body. Then, they entered his spirit core through his meridians. Under the effect of the spirit core, the spirit energy transformed into spirit energy and was stored within the spirit core. The spiritual power of the spirit core was increasing. Lu Chen suddenly opened his eyes. His spiritual power was increasing. His upper limit had already been broken, and he could continue to cultivate. That's great, I can still cultivate. Lu Chen exclaimed in a low voice. Good, since that's the case, I don't need to care if others are immortals. I still have the ability to fight. The celestial demon origin cultivation technique is now at the 6th level. Previously, it said that it would increase my spiritual power by 120 points per minute. Unfortunately, I can't enter the state of celestial demon symbiosis, so I can only increase my spiritual power by 1/5 every minute, which is 24 points. However, the 9-star heavenly abode has a cultivation bonus, and the cultivation effect feels double that of the outside world. This way, I can increase my spiritual power by 48 points per minute. As Lu Chen spoke, he made a vertical calculation on the ground. 1 hour. 60 multiplied by 48 equals 2,880. 1 day, 24 multiplied by 2,880 equals 69,120. That's still okay. I'll cultivate here for a while and see if I can increase my star level. Lu Chen probably did not expect that after saying this, he would enter a long period of cultivation. This closed-door cultivation lasted for 3 months. Except for the food and water that would be sent to him every day, Lu Chen did not sleep or rest, and spent all his time cultivating. Lu Chen could clearly feel that his spirit core was constantly replenishing his spiritual power, and it had even doubled from before. After 3 months and a few days, Lu Chen suddenly felt an inexplicable feeling, just like the feeling when he was about to break through. The spirit core is full. I am about to break through? Lu Chen hurriedly concentrated and continued to absorb the spiritual power. Not long after, a warm current suddenly flowed through Lu Chen's body. The spirit energy in his spirit core automatically spread out and filled every meridian, blood vessel, muscle, and skin of Lu Chen. Lu Chen clearly felt that the spiritual power was strengthening every cell in his body. At the same time, the foreign matter in his body was squeezed out of his body, forming a thick layer of impurities on the surface of his body. His body was indescribably comfortable. This process lasted for a full 10 hours. When this feeling disappeared, Lu Chen was already drenched in sweat, and his body was incomparably dirty. Damn, what is this? Lu Chen looked at his dirty body, and even despised himself, and hurriedly sneaked out of the cave abode. Speaking of which, there was actually no one in the cave abode today, and he did not know where those people had run off to. Lu Chen did not care anymore, and found a small stream nearby to take a bath. He also washed and dried his clothes while he was at it. Luckily, no one saw me, or else it would be really embarrassing. Lu Chen put on the Hell Dragon outfit. Right at this moment, he saw his own badge. There was a fog surrounding it, and Lu Chen waved his hand to disperse the fog. At this moment, the words on the badge had actually changed. 10-star Savage King Realm. Lu Chen was stunned for a long time. What the hell was a 10-star Savage King? He was indeed a 9-star Savage King before, but wasn't that the peak? Even if he rose in stars, shouldn't he have entered the next major realm? Right below the human king realm should be either itinerant immortals or true immortals, and I did not become an immortal, but forcibly rose in stars, so I became a 10-star Savage King? Lu Chen thought. It seemed that this was the only explanation. Speaking of which, according to his cultivation speed, in these 3 months, his spiritual energy should have increased by about 5 million. From 9 stars to 10 stars, it actually took 5 million spiritual energy. This 1-star increase was equivalent to the sum of all his previous spiritual energy. Damn, other people walk further and further on the path of cultivation, but in the end I walk further and further on the path of savages. Lu Chen shook his head helplessly. I don't know how the strength of a 10-star Savage King compares to an itinerant immortal. Also, is 10 stars my limit? Thinking of this, Lu Chen did not wait for Li Shang and the others to come back, and immediately returned to the cave abode, casually ate something, and continued to cultivate in the cultivation room. This time, I'll rise a few more stars. Lu Chen sat cross-legged in the cultivation room. After saying that, he once again entered the spirit subtlety and anatta state. Chapter 1201. Li Shang and the others are also unable to understand. Ever since Lu Chen, that guy, came to the 7th layer of heaven, he went straight into the cultivation room. This is already the end of the 4th year since Lu Chen came here. Other than seeing him delivering food every day, this guy seems to be rooted in the cultivation room. Li Shang, it has already been 4 years. It has already been 4 years since Lu Chen came to the 7th layer of heaven. There is only less than 2 years left until the end of the Earth's protection period. But he still has not left the 9th star paradise. Jin Luan, I know you are anxious. We are all as anxious as you. Li Shang says, but don't forget, Immortal Master Lu Yuan did give Lu Chen a different opportunity. But for him to be able to come to this point, it is all because of himself. So we have no reason to not believe in him. I think he must know what he is doing. Jin Luan frowns as she looks at the closed cultivation room and sighs. It is not that I don't believe in him. It is just that right now all our hopes are on him alone. And he is not even a loose immortal. It seems that we will not be able to protect the Earth in the end. This time Li Shang does not say anything. Lu Chen's situation is really too special. By the way, how many spirit tablets have everyone accumulated in these past few years? Let's add them up and see if they can be of help when Lu Chen comes out. Everyone takes out the spirit tablets they have on them. I have received a salary from the Immortal Master for the past 4 years. Including the reward from the Immortal Master, I have received a total of 6. I received 1 a year, so I have a total of 4. I sold the bone-dissolving pill. Adding the 4 I earned as a servant in the Immortal Master's cave, I have a total of 11. Everyone takes out all the spirit tablets they have on them. Li Shang gathered everyone's spirit tablets, his face anxious. A total of 64 tablets. That kid needs 1,000 tablets for each transfer. I'm afraid these spirit tablets are just a drop in the bucket for him. Doesn't Lu Chen have the Godfiend set? It's not surprising that it requires a large number of spirit tablets. It's just that, such a consumption is really not something we can afford. We forcefully transcended the tribulation to reach the seventh firmament. Our strength is weak to begin with. We have either died or been injured while guarding the coordinate. Until now, we don't even have the money to treat our injuries. Earning this much is already the limit, Jin Luan said with a sigh. Li Shang sighed. I know, everyone has worked hard. With that, he put the spirit tablet away. It's getting late. Everyone, get some rest. You still have to return to your immortal masters tomorrow. After that, everyone went to rest on their own stone beds. In the dead of the night, all the loose immortals were already resting. The dusty door of the training room opened gently, and a black savage walked out. Lu Chen had just broken through, and his body was covered in impurities. Previously, he didn't dare to come out when he heard people talking outside. Now that everyone was resting, he dared to come out. After staying here for 4 years, Lu Chen was already familiar with the surroundings. He quickly ran to the stream to wash up. This time, Lu Chen let Little Beastie and the rest out. Dad, how many stars are you now? Little Beastie rushed to Lu Chen as soon as it came out. Dad, let me help you scrub your back. 13 stars. Lu Chen shook his head helplessly. He was already 13 stars, but he was still the king of savages. Then Dad, when are you going to bring us out? We've been here for 4 years. It's so boring. Little Furball and Little Originator were playing around in the water. It was obvious that they were bored out of their wit. Anyway, it was rare for them to come out, so the two of them were playing around. I know you're bored. I'm bored too. I cultivate every day, but my cultivation speed is slow. Lu Chen shook his head. But you heard it before. Senior Li Shang and the rest went to the Immortal Master's cave to collect spirit tablets for me. In the end, they only collected a few dozen tablets. It will take me a long time to extract the 9 transformations of gods and demons, so I can only cultivate first. Little Beastie nodded thoughtfully. Then, Dad, what are you going to do next? There are only 2 years left before the protection period. Lu Chen said, there are only 2 years left. I can't cultivate anymore. Not only is the Earth's protection period, but there are also only 2 years left before the final battle. I have to count the days ahead. Can the 13-star king of savages defeat a true immortal? I don't know. If I quantify it, my 80 million spiritual energy should be enough, right? Lu Chen said uncertainly. Also, when I broke through this time, I felt quite strange. In the past, after my spiritual energy increased, I needed to increase my 3 dimensions separately. But in the 7th layer of heaven, every breakthrough will transform my body. The 3 dimensions are obviously higher than before. Lu Chen was not used to suddenly losing his data reference. Forget it, I can't care so much now. I have to earn spirit tablets as soon as possible to restore my strength, Lu Chen said. Lu Chen took a bath and quietly returned to the 9-star cave. He found an empty stone bed and fell asleep. The next morning, Li Shang and the rest found that there was one more person beside them. It was Lu Chen, who had been in seclusion for 4 years. Lu Chen also slowly opened his eyes. Seeing that everyone was looking at him, he hurriedly sat up. At first glance, he saw that 4 or 5 people had obvious external injuries. Although they had been simply bandaged, in some places, he could even see the white bones. How was this external injury? It was simply the flesh being torn open and the flesh being dug out. Lu Chen suddenly opened his eyes wide. What's with the injuries on your body? Everyone's eyes flickered. Lu Chen sat up and grabbed someone's wrist, Senior, what's going on? This. That person wanted to say something but hesitated. He looked at Li Shang for help. Lu Chen. Li Shang pulled away Lu Chen's hand. It's no big deal. Being a servant, sometimes it's inevitable to be punished. We are already used to it. Lu Chen opened his eyes wide. Lu Chen, don't say this. Look at what this is. Li Shang happily took out a small stack of spirit tablets and handed it to Lu Chen. Ha ha, this should be what you need the most right now. Unfortunately, we are only half useless people, we can't earn much. Lu Chen took the spirit tablets, his eyes wide open. These seniors did not hesitate to be the servants of other immortal masters. They endured humiliation and earned spirit tablets for him. Who is your immortal master? Lu Chen asked coldly. Lu Chen, don't be impulsive. Li Shang snapped. Don't tell me you want to find a true immortal to take revenge? You are not even a loose immortal now. How many god and devil sets have you taken? You are courting death. Lu Chen stood up angrily. I did not come to the 7th layer of heaven to let you be the servants of other people. So what if I am not an immortal? Those who dare to touch my people must pay the price. Now tell me who injured you, otherwise I will leave the 9th star paradise. Everyone had never seen Lu Chen so angry. They looked at each other, no one was willing to say anything. You don't want to say it? I will go check it myself, Lu Chen said and turned to leave. Stop. Li Shang was also convinced by Lu Chen's temper. Your safety now is related to the survival of Earth. Lu Chen said coldly, I have never thought of enduring humiliation to protect Earth. Whether it is me or Earth, we will not drag out an ignoble existence. Good, you really piss me off. The one who hit them was not their immortal master, but the loose immortal followers of the immortal master of 5 tribulation immortal. Touching his followers is equivalent to offending a true immortal. Do you really want to offend a 5 tribulation immortal? Lu Chen's eyes were filled with killing intent. Take me to see those loose immortal followers now. Chapter 1202. Li Shang still wants to say something, but Jin Luan pulls Li Shang to the side and whispers, perhaps we should believe Lu Chen this time. He has been in 7th layer of heaven for 4 years. If he has not made any progress, then we don't have any hope. Li Shang is silent for a long time, then sighs. Jin Luan's words are reasonable. After a moment, Li Shang walks in front of Lu Chen and looks at Lu Chen. Lu Chen, we will take you there. A group of people teleported to Qin Yu Medicine Garden. This is where Gu Yan and others work. The medicine garden is very big, almost the same as the medicine garden of God and Devil Holy Courtyard. Standing outside the medicine garden, one can see dozens of figures taking care of the herbs. At the entrance of the medicine garden, 3 people are sitting around. They are drinking tea while occasionally looking up at the medicine garden. At this time, they see these people from Earth, immediately get up and swagger over. It's you really have big guts. Do you know the time has passed? With that, one of them pulls out a whip from his hand and comes up to Gu Yan. Gu Yan does not even dare to dodge. He only raises his hand to block. Lu Chen at the side slightly narrows his eyes. These guys, in order to help him earn a little bit of spirit tablets, what kind of humiliation do they usually endure? Those 64 spirit tablets are not much, but now they have become heavy. Those are what they exchanged with their dignity and flesh. Suddenly, a hand firmly grabs the other end of the whip. The person wielding the whip stares at Lu Chen and angrily says, Audacious, who are you, actually dare to meddle in this father's business? Lu Chen's eyes emit a faint green gas. Today I will not only meddle, I will also make you pay 100-fold for the evil deeds you committed against my friend. That person tries to pull back the whip from Lu Chen's hand, but the whip in Lu Chen's hand does not move at all. You are true immortal? No. Lu Chen coldly says. Hearing this answer, those three people look at each other. Suddenly their confidence multiplies. Trifling loose immortal also dare to cause trouble. Do you know which immortal master this medicine garden belongs to? Do you know who we are? Even if you don't mention me and my master, we're all loose immortals who survived a level 6 heavenly tribulation. You can't afford to offend us. Lu Chen coldly snorted and suddenly loosened his grip. The man was caught off guard and retreated a few steps. You're really acting superior even though you're a dog. Lu Chen walked forward alone. He stretched his neck and moved his wrist. Speaking of which, he really hadn't fought for a long time. He was a little rusty. Sorry, I'm not even an itinerant immortal. Lu Chen's eyes were filled with killing intent. So what if you are immortals? So what if I'm immortal? Today I, a mortal, will teach you immortals a lesson. After saying that, Lu Chen immediately dispersed half of the fog on the badge, revealing only the words, Human King Realm. Those people looked at each other in dismay, their faces filled with shock. Human King Realm? What is going on? How can a seventh layer of heaven reach the Human King Realm? Who cares? A mere mortal dares to trespass into the immortal realm. Today, I'll let you know that this is not a place you can come to. Kill this mortal for me. After saying that, the three loose immortals exploded with spiritual chi. Except for the defensive array in the herb garden, the aftermath was like a level 12 hurricane, even uprooting the surrounding trees. Kid, did you see that? You've never seen such fierce spiritual chi in your life. This is the difference between immortals and mortals. One of them pulled out a broadsword with a tiger head. His figure was like lightning, instantly flashing in front of Lu Chen. Tiger roar swallowing sky slash. Lu Chen slightly narrowed his eyes. At some point, a black spear had appeared in his hand. Just as the tiger roar swallowing sky slash was about to land in front of him, Lu Chen's figure suddenly exploded. Instead of retreating, he advanced and shouted in a low voice, "You're an itinerant immortal, right? Die for me." Spear Wei ka Shattering Stars. Shattering Stars was not a very powerful move in the Spear Wei. However, Lu Chen's speed and the ferocity of his move were so fast that even the itinerant immortal could not react in time. This spear directly pierced through the itinerant immortal's body before the tiger roar swallowing sky slash. The spear directly came out of that person's body, and Lu Chen himself had already arrived behind that person. Grabbing the spear, he instantly appeared in front of the second person. Spear Wave Empyrean Spear. That person's eyes were filled with terror. Before he could even use his displacement skill, the god-slaying spear directly pierced through his throat. At the same time, Lu Chen had already flashed in front of the third person. This person was the one who had wielded the whip previously. He pinched that person's face with one hand, his fingers forming a claw, and his gaze was cold. A cold voice said, "I've left you a special gift. Star Dust of Destruction." That person's face was rapidly disintegrating at a speed visible to the naked eye. At this moment, how could he still care about wielding the whip? He retreated several steps, hugging his face and screaming in terror, "My face, my face!" Not only his face, the star dust of destruction was rapidly disintegrating his entire body. His face rapidly disintegrated until only his bones were left, followed by his neck, torso, limbs. Not long after, he was completely disintegrated without even leaving a corpse behind. 3/6 Tribulation itinerant immortals were all killed by Lu Chen in the blink of an eye. Seeing this scene, Li Shang and the rest were already dumbfounded from shock, their bodies stiffened. My heavens! What happened? Li Shang, didn't you say that he didn't become an immortal? Why is he so strong? Killing itinerant immortals like killing chickens. No, even killing chickens is harder than this. I thought that after coming to the seventh heaven, I would no longer be shocked so easily. I didn't expect that I was wrong. The son of true immortal Lu Yuan is too strong. Li Shang looked at that cold back view, as if in a trance. He saw the back view of another person. That strongest man on earth, the only man who became a true immortal, but his son is more terrifying than him. When he attacked, there was no trace of hesitation. Even 1 against 3, he was still able to easily kill 3 sixth tribulation itinerant immortals with ease. What a terrifying battle power! He still hasn't completely extracted the power of the God-Devil suit. Too strong, really too strong. Li Shang said too strong 3 times in a row, showing how shocked he was in his heart. After Lu Qin finished off the 3 itinerant immortals, he turned around and looked at his companions. Senior Gu Yan, when will that 5th tribulation true immortal come? Gu Yan was stunned for a moment. Lu Qin, what do you want to do? Lu Qin snorted coldly, wait for him. Although he didn't attack, the fault of the hanger-on is also related to him. Today, he must give me an explanation, otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite to him. After saying that, Lu Qin actually directly sat down cross-legged on the ground and entered into a state of cultivation. The group of people only felt their hair stand on end. What kind of situation is this? If it was an ordinary person, after killing other people's hanger-on, why wouldn't he run? Who would be so stupid to wait for the true immortal to come and find him? But Lu Qin, killing 3 hanger-ons is not enough. He must make the master come out and apologize. Li Shang suddenly said, this kid really has the potential to be a bandit. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.